You are listening to a story on Love Revenge Stories. Wish you an enjoyable listening experience. I needed 2 million to save my mother's life. He needed a wife to secure his inheritance. Our 2-year contract marriage was supposed to be purely business until we accidentally fell in love with each other. The congratulatory email sat in my inbox like a ticking bomb. Subject: director position, final interview. I should have been ecstatic. 3 years of 80-hour weeks, endless financial models, and surviving on coffee and spite had finally paid off. Director of Corporate Finance at Hartwell and Associates, the youngest in the firm's history. Instead, I was staring at the fine print in the follow-up call from HR. "It's just a formality, Fiona," Margaret had said, her voice dripping with that particular brand of corporate cheerfulness that made my teeth ache. "The partners want to ensure our leadership reflects stability, family values. You understand." I understood perfectly. They wanted to know I wouldn't get pregnant and disappear. That I had a support system, that I was the right kind of woman for their old boys club. "I'm in a serious relationship," I'd lied smoothly. "Very stable." "Wonderful. We'd love to meet him at the partner dinner next month." The call had ended 2 hours ago. I was still sitting at my kitchen table, cold coffee untouched, contemplating my life choices. My phone buzzed. Mom's name flashed across the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hi Mom. Fiona, honey." Her voice sounded thin, tired. "Did you get my voicemail? The one about the test results. The one I'd been avoiding since yesterday." "I did. When's the appointment with the specialist?" "Thursday. But sweetheart, I need to tell you." She paused, and I could hear her gathering courage. "It's more serious than they thought. They're recommending surgery. Soon." My hand tightened around the phone. "What kind of surgery?" "The expensive kind." She tried to laugh, but it came out broken. "Insurance will cover some, but the specialist they need, he's out of network. They're estimating 200,000, maybe more." The number hit me like a physical blow. I had 43,000 in savings. Every penny I'd scraped together from brutal hours and skipped meals. "Mom, don't worry about the money. I'm not asking you for money, Fiona. I know how hard you work. I needed you to know." After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my apartment. Through the window, I could see the Chicago skyline gleaming in the morning sun. Somewhere in one of those buildings, people were making deals, trading millions like monopoly money. And here I was, choosing between my career and my mother's life. My phone buzzed again. A text from my friend Rachel. "Coffee, need to talk about something weird." I grabbed my coat. Rachel was already at our usual corner table at Brew and Bloom, nursing an elaborate lat. She worked as a paralegal at Morrison & Chen, one of the city's most discreet law firms. The kind that handled prenups for billionaires and NDAs for celebrities. "You look like hell," she said by way of greeting. "Good morning to you too." I slid into the seat across from her. "What's the weird thing?" She leaned forward, lowering her voice. "How desperate are you for money right now?" I blinked. "Why do you ask?" "Because I might have something, but it's..." She glanced around. "Unconventional." "Rachel, I'm not robbing a bank." "Worse. Marriage." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through what looked like a legal document. "We have a client. Very wealthy. Very private. He needs a wife." I stared at her. "Are you seriously pitching me on becoming a mail-order bride?" "It's not like that. It's a business arrangement. Completely legal. 2-year contract, generous compensation. Clean divorce at the end." She slid her phone across the table. "The firm has handled 3 of these arrangements. All ended amicably." The number at the bottom of the screen made my breath catch. $2 million. "This is insane," I whispered. "As it? You need money. He needs a wife for legal reasons, inheritance stuff, very boring. No physical relationship required. You'd live separately, appear together for family events and legal purposes, then divorce quietly when the term is up." "Ooh, is he?" "Can't tell you until you sign the NDA, but he's legitimate, successful, young, early 30s. The firm wouldn't risk their reputation on anything shady." I thought about Mom's voice on the phone. About the partner dinner next month. About the fact that both my problems could be solved with one impossible solution. "I want to meet him first." Rachel smiled. "He said you'd say that. Are you free tonight?" The office was supposed to be my sanctuary. 34th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of Lake Michigan that cost more than most people's houses. I'd built Bennett Analytics from nothing, proving I didn't need my family's money or name to succeed. But today, even this couldn't quiet the noise in my head. My phone rang. "Father. Miles, your grandfather called the board meeting for Friday." I closed the report I'd been pretending to read. "Let me guess. The ultimatum. He's not bluffing this time. Marry Anna Clark by the end of the quarter, or he's restructuring the inheritance. Everything goes to charity. Anna Clark, daughter of Clark Industries. Perfect pedigree, perfect smile, perfect business merger. We'd dated briefly in college. She was nice enough, but there was nothing there. No spark, no connection, just two people playing the roles our families had written for us. I'm not marrying Anna. Then you lose Leon Group. Father's voice was carefully neutral. I know you don't need the money, but Miles, it's our legacy. 4 generations, your grandfather built it from. I know the story, Dad. I rubbed my temples. I'll handle it. After hanging up, I stared at the business card Morrison and Chen's senior partner had given me at last week's charity gala. Discreet, professional, expensive. We specialize in alternative solutions for complicated situations. I'd thought he was joking. But desperate times. I dialed the number. Morrison and Chen. How may I direct your call? I need to speak with Harrison Morrison. Tell him Miles Bennett is calling about a contract marriage arrangement. There was the briefest pause. One moment. Please. The law office was all dark wood and hushed tones, the kind of place where secrets went to die professionally. Harrison Morrison's assistant led me to a conference room with a view that rivaled mine. Mr. Bennett, thank you for coming on short notice. Morrison stood, extending his hand. He was in his 50s, silver-haired, with the calm demeanor of someone who'd seen everything twice. I have someone I think might be an excellent match for your situation. The door opened. She walked in like she owned the room. Dark blazer, hair pulled back, intelligent eyes that assessed me in 3 seconds flat. Pretty. But that wasn't what caught my attention. It was the way she moved, confident, wary, and absolutely done with anyone's bullshit. Fiona Hayes. Morrison said. This is Miles Bennett. She shook my hand, firm grip. The Leon Group heir. The financial analyst who just made junior partner cry in a board meeting. I countered, her eyebrow arched. You heard about that. I make it my business to know who's good with numbers. I gestured to the chair. Shall we? Morrison pulled out contracts, but I barely listened. I was watching her. The way she read every line carefully. The way she asked pointed questions about the terms. No starry-eyed gold digger. This was someone treating it like what it was, a business transaction. 2 years, she said finally. Separate residences unless appearances require otherwise. No physical relationship. Clean divorce with no fault clause. Medical expenses covered for your family. I added, watching her carefully. Immediate disbursement of funds upon signing. Not at the end. Her eyes snapped to mine. Why? Because you need it now, not in 2 years. I leaned back. I did my research, Ms. Hayes. Your mother needs surgery. You need this promotion, but they want stability. I need a wife to satisfy a legal requirement. We can help each other. Just like that. Just like that. She was quiet for a long moment, studying me. I had the unsettling feeling she was seeing more than I intended to show. What's the catch? When this is over, we both walk away with what we need. You get financial security and your promotion. I get my inheritance and freedom to live my life on my terms. And after 2 years, we'll file for divorce. Cite irreconcilable differences which won't be a lie and never see each other again. She held my gaze, I held hers. Finally, she reached for the pen. One condition. Name it. We're honest with each other. About everything. If this is going to work, I need to know you're not going to screw me over. I thought about Anna. About my family's expectations, about every relationship that had been a calculated move on someone's chessboard. Deal, I said. Honesty, she signed, I signed. Morrison witnessed. Just like that, I had a wife, and absolutely no idea what I'd just gotten myself into. I woke up married, legally married, to a man I'd known for exactly 4 hours. The marriage certificate sat on my nightstand, stark and official. Fiona Marie Hayes, Miles Alexander Bennett, date of marriage October 15, 2024. My phone buzzed with a bank notification. I opened it with shaking hands. Wire transfer received at $2,000. I stared at the number until it stopped feeling real. $2 million. Enough to save Mom. Enough to breathe for the first time in years. Another text came through, this one from an unknown number. Good morning, wife. Coffee at 10. We should discuss logistics, Miles. Right, logistics. Because that's what you did with your brand new contract husband. Brew and bloom, I'll be there. I got up, showered, and spent 20 minutes staring at my closet. What did one wear to a business meeting with one's spouse? I settled on professional black pants, cream blouse, the good blazer. My phone rang. Mom, hi sweetheart, I know it's early, but the hospital called. They can fit me in next Wednesday if, she paused. Fiona, why are you crying? I wiped my eyes quickly. I'm not crying. Mom, schedule the surgery. I'm transferring the money today. What? Honey, no, I told you, I got a bonus. A big one. The promotion came through. The lie came easily. Too easily. Mom, please, let me do this. The silence on the other end lasted forever. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. After we hung up, I sat on my bed and let myself feel it. Relief, terror, guilt for lying, gratitude for Miles Bennett, a stranger who'd just saved my mother's life. My phone buzzed again. Also, my mother wants to meet you. Tomorrow night. I told her we've been dating for 6 months. Hope that's okay, we'll need to get our stories straight. Mum, and just like that, reality crashed back in. She was already there when I arrived, laptop open, files spread across the table. Even in a coffee shop, she worked like she was preparing for war. You're early, I said, sliding into the seat across from her. I'm always early. She closed her laptop. Your mother, tomorrow. Are you insane? She was getting suspicious. I signaled the barista. I've been dodging her calls about Anna Clark for 3 months. I had to give her something. So you gave her me. Would you prefer I tell her the truth? That I hired a wife to avoid an arranged marriage? She pinched the bridge of her nose. Fine. What's our story? I'd spent the morning working on this. We met 6 months ago. Corporate charity gala. You were there with Hartwell and Associates. I was there representing Bennett Analytics. We started talking about market trends, exchanged numbers, kept in touch. Romantic. She said dryly. It gets better. 3 months ago. I asked you to dinner. Real dinner, not business. You said yes. We've been seeing each other since then quietly. Because we both value our privacy. Why wouldn't you tell your family? Because I wanted to be sure it was real before introducing you to the circus. I leaned forward. They'll buy it. My family knows I don't do things by their playbook. She was quiet, processing. What about physical affection? They'll expect us to act like a couple. Hand holding in public. Maybe my arm around you at events. Nothing more unless you're comfortable. I met her eyes. The contract says no physical relationship. I meant that. Something flickered across her face, relief maybe. Okay. What else do I need to know? My mother is suspicious but kind. She'll interrogate you gently. My father is all business, he'll respect you if you show you're competent. My sister Jessica is complicated. She'll see through any obvious lies. So stick as close to the truth as possible. And your grandfather? He won't be there, he's ill, doesn't attend many family dinners anymore. I paused. He's the reason for all this. Actually, the marriage requirement is in his will. That's our cake. That's money. I shrugged. Old families like old rules. She pulled out a notepad, actual paper, not digital. Okay. My turn. What do you need to know about me? For the next hour, we built our fake relationships foundation. I learned she grew up in Chicago, went to Northwestern. Majored in finance and statistics. She learned I went to Wharton, started Bennett Analytics at 25, deliberately built it separate from my family's empire. Why does that matter? Because wives know these things, Miles. Italian. Yours. Spicy. She made a note. Coffee order. Black. 2 sugars if I'm tired. Books, non-fiction, business biographies, mostly, you, fiction. Mysteries? She glanced up. See, we're already incompatible. This marriage is doomed. I found myself smiling, probably for the best. She smiled back, and for a moment it felt almost easy. Like we were just 2 people getting to know each other, not 2 strangers bound by a legal contract and mutual desperation. One more thing, I said. We need rings. Her hand went self-consciously to her left hand. Right. Rings. I have an appointment with a jeweler this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Can you make it? I'll be there. As we stood to leave, she hesitated. Miles. Thank you. For the money. For helping with my mom. I know this is a business deal. You don't need to thank me, Fiona. We're helping each other. Still. She held out her hand. Partners. I shook it. Partners. The jeweler's boutique was the kind of place I'd never walked into in my life. The kind where they buzzed you in and offered champagne while you browsed diamonds that cost more than cars. Miles was already there, talking quietly with an older man in an impeccable suit. Ems Hayes. The jeweler Martin, according to his name tag, greeted me warmly. Congratulations on your engagement. Bennett has told me so much about you. I glanced at Miles, who looked entirely too comfortable with this charade. Martin has some options for us. Miles said smoothly, guiding me to a private viewing room. The rings were stunning. Objectively, professionally, breathtakingly stunning. Too much. I whispered to Miles as Martin excused himself. They need to be believable. Miles, this one costs more than my car. You drive a 2015 Honda Civic. Everything costs more than your car. I glared at him. He almost smiled. Try this one. He picked up a platinum band with a single diamond, elegant, simple, beautiful without being ostentatious. I let him slide it onto my finger. It fit perfectly. How did you? Rachel gave me your ring size. I hope that's not creepy. It's very creepy. Noted. But he didn't move to take the ring off. I looked down at my hand. At this symbol of a marriage that wasn't real, with a man I barely knew, for reasons that made sense on paper but felt increasingly surreal. Fiona. His voice was quieter now. If this is too much, we can still back out. We haven't announced anything publicly yet. You could keep the money for your mom. And no. I looked up at him. I'm in. I'm just processing. I understand. This is insane. Completely insane. I agreed. But practical. Very practical. We stood there. My hand still in his, the ring catching the light. I like this one. I said finally. Yeah. Martin returned with matching bands for Miles. Simpler, masculine. Platinum to match mine. Miles said. As we left the boutique, rings in elegant boxes, Miles held the door for me. Tomorrow night, he said. I'll pick you up at 6:30. Dress code is business casual. Mom keeps dinners relaxed. Miles. Yes. What if they don't like me? He looked at me with those impossibly calm eyes. They'll like you. And if they don't, we'll handle it. Together. Together. I repeated. It should have felt like a lie. But somehow, it didn't. Fiona was quiet in the passenger seat, staring out the window as Chicago's skyline gave way to the manicured suburbs of Lake Forest. She'd dressed perfectly, navy dress, understated jewelry, hair down. Professional but warm. She looked terrified. You're gonna be fine, I said. You don't know that. I do actually. You negotiated a $2 million contract without flinching. You can handle dinner with my parents. That was business. This is, she gestured vaguely, lying to your family. It's not lying. It's strategic omission, Miles. That's literally the definition of lying. I couldn't argue with that. My mother's name is Catherine. She'll ask about your job, your family, your intentions with her son. Be honest about everything except how we actually met. And your father, Richard. He'll be polite, distant, measuring your net worth in his head. Don't take it personally. Comforting. Jessica will be the real challenge. She's 26, works in art curation, and has a built-in bullshit detector. If anyone's going to see through us, it's her. Fiona took a deep breath. Okay, we met at a charity gala, 6 months ago, started dating 3 months ago. You didn't tell them because you wanted to be sure. Perfect. I know your favorite food, your coffee order. The fact that you run every morning at 6 and hate surprising people with your presence, which makes this whole dinner ironic. I glanced at her. When did I tell you about running? You didn't. I pay attention. She was fidgeting with her ring, spinning it on her finger. A nervous tell I filed away for later.
Fiona, yes.
Thank you for doing this. She looked at me, surprised. You're paying me $2 million. You don't need to thank me. Still. The Bennett estate came into view, sprawling, ridiculous, the kind of old money that made new money uncomfortable. I'd grown up here. It had never felt like home. Fiona went very still. You grew up in a mansion. Unfortunately, Miles, this isn't a house. This is a historical landmark. It's just a house with too many rooms and too many expectations. I pulled into the circular drive. Before I could get out, Fiona grabbed my arm. Wait, I need a minute. I waited. What if I mess this up? What if I say the wrong thing and they realize? You won't. You don't know that. I do. I turned to face her fully. You're smart, capable, and you've been performing under pressure your entire career. This is just another performance. Except this time, I'm on your side. She nodded slowly. Okay. Okay, let's do this. I came around to open her door, small gesture, but the kind of thing my mother would notice. Fiona took my offered hand, and I felt her trembling slightly. One more thing. I said quietly as we approached the door. What? I leaned in, my lips close to her ear. They're going to love you. Because you're brilliant and real. And I picked you. That's all that matters to them. You hired me. They don't know that. The door opened before we could knock. Jessica stood there, eyebrow raised, glass of wine already in hand. Well, the mystery girlfriend finally appears. Her eyes swept over Fiona, assessing. I'm Jessica. You must be the woman who's made my brother act like a human being with feelings. Fiona's hand tightened in mine for just a second. Then she smiled, genuine, warm. Fiona. And I don't know about the feelings part. He's still pretty robotic most of the time. Jessica's laugh was surprised and delighted. Oh, I like her. Come in, you two. Mom's been pacing for an hour. Catherine Bennett was elegant in the way that old money always is, understated but expensive, warm but watchful. She hugged me like we'd known each other for years. Fiona, finally. Miles has been so secretive about you. She pulled back, hands on my shoulders, studying my face. You're even lovelier than he described. He talked about me. I glanced at Miles, who looked faintly uncomfortable. Barely. Jessica interjected. Which is how we knew it was serious. Miles never talks about anything important. Richard Bennett was exactly as Miles described, tall, distinguished, handshaking, firm but distant. Hayes. Welcome. Miles tells us you're in finance. Corporate finance at Hartwell and Associates. I just made director. His eyebrows rose slightly. Impressive. Youngest director in their history. If I recall correctly. He'd looked me up. Of course he had. I've been fortunate, I said carefully. Nonsense. Don't downplay your achievements. Catherine linked her arm through mine, leading me toward the dining room. Richard, stop interrogating her. We haven't even sat down yet. The dining room was ridiculous table that could seat 20. Chandelier that probably cost more than my apartment, windows overlooking gardens that seemed to go on forever. Miles pulled out my chair, another small gesture. Another piece of the performance. Dinner started innocently enough. Catherine asked about my work, my family, how Miles and I met. I stuck to the script, feeling Miles' presence beside me like a safety net. A charity gala, Catherine mused. How did you two end up talking? I was hiding from my boss, I said honestly. He wanted to introduce me to potential clients, and I just wanted to look at the art in peace. Miles was doing the same thing, hiding, I mean. Miles picked up the thread seamlessly. She was standing in front of a Rothko, looking annoyed. I asked if she hated modern art or just networking. Both, I said. We ended up talking for 2 hours about market volatility and completely ignoring the actual event. Catherine laughed. That sounds like Miles. Richard. Do you remember when he skipped the gala we were hosting to read earnings reports in his room? He was 16. Richard said dryly. Some things never change. Jessica murmured into her wine glass. The conversation flowed easier than I expected. Catherine was genuinely kind. Richard warmed up once we started discussing economic policy, and Jessica was sharp but not cruel. Then Jessica leaned forward, eyes glinting with mischief. So, Fiona, when did you know Miles was the one? My mind went blank. Miles' hand found mine under the table, squeezed once. It wasn't one moment, I said slowly. It was accumulation. The way he listens when people talk. The way he remembers small things. Like, I glanced at Miles, improvising. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned I was stressed about a presentation. The next morning, there was coffee and a breakfast sandwich outside my office. My exact order, no note, but I knew it was him. That hadn't happened. But it could have, it should have, for the story we were telling. Miles was looking at me with something unreadable in his expression. That's sweet. Catherine said softly. Miles has always shown love through actions rather than words. Speaking of actions, Richard cut in, how serious is this? We've known about you for exactly 24 hours, Fiona. And now you're wearing my grandmother's ring. The room went quiet. I looked down at my hand. At the ring that Miles had said was perfect. Not my grandmother's ring. Not family heirloom. Dad, Miles said, voice tight. It's a fair question. Richard's eyes were on me. My son doesn't bring women home, ever. Now suddenly there's an engagement ring, that particular engagement ring, and we're supposed to just accept that this is real. Richard, Catherine warned. But he continued. Miles. You've been dodging your grandfather's ultimatum for months. Now conveniently, right before the board meeting, you show up with a fiancé. You'll forgive me for being skeptical. My heart was pounding. The script we'd prepared didn't include this. Miles stood up slowly. Dad, can I talk to you in the study? No. I stood too, surprising myself. Mr. Bennett, you're right to be skeptical. Miles told me about the inheritance situation. About Anna Clark. About all of it. Miles went very still beside me. He told me on our second date, actually. I appreciated the honesty, even though it was terrifying to hear. He said his family had expectations, and if we continued dating, I'd be walking into a complicated situation. I looked at Miles, then back at Richard. I chose to keep seeing him anyway. Not because of his money, I have my own career. Thank you, but because he's one of the few genuinely good people I've met in this city. The room was silent. Is this marriage convenient timing for his inheritance? Yes. Does that make it fake? No. I pulled off the ring gently, carefully. But if wearing your grandmother's ring makes you uncomfortable, I understand. This can just be a promise between Miles and me. We don't need family heirlooms to validate what we have. I held the ring out to Richard. No one moved. Then Catherine stood up, walked over, and gently pushed my hand back. Fiona, that ring is Miles to give, not Richard's. If my son chose you and you chose him, that's all that matters to me. She looked at her husband. Richard, you're being rude to our guest. Apologize. Richard looked between us, me standing there with the ring, Miles tense as a wire, Jessica watching with fascination. Finally he sighed. My apologies, Fiona. That was uncalled for. I'm protective of my son. I understand, I said quietly. I would be too. Miles took the ring from my hand and slid it back onto my finger, slowly, deliberately. This is my ring to give, he said to his father, voice steady. And Fiona is my choice. The only choice I've made in years that's actually mine. Something passed between them, an old argument, an old wound. Catherine clapped her hands once. Wonderful. Now that we've had our dramatic moment, who wants dessert? I drove us back to the city in silence. Fiona stared out the window, occasionally touching the ring like she was making sure it was still there. I'm sorry, I said finally. I didn't know about the ring. My mother must have. It's fine. It's not fine. My father basically accused you of being a gold digger in front of everyone. He was protecting you. I respect that. She turned to look at me. Miles. You should have told me it was your grandmother's ring. Would you have worn it if you knew? She was quiet for a moment. Probably not. Which is why you didn't tell me. I wanted you to have something real. Something that meant something. This isn't real, she said softly. That's the whole point. I didn't have an answer for that. When I pulled up to her apartment, she didn't move to get out immediately. That thing I said. About the coffee and breakfast sandwich, I made that up, I know. It was a good detail though. It was. She smiled slightly. Your sister definitely doesn't believe us. Jessica doesn't believe anything until proven otherwise. She'll come around. And your dad? He'll do what mom tells him to. Which is to accept this and move on. She finally reached for the door handle, then paused. Miles. Thank you for defending me. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. We're in this together, remember, together, she repeated. Right, well, good night, husband. Good night, wife. I watched her walk into her building, watched until the lights turned on in her apartment. My phone buzzed. Jessica. She's either the best actress I've ever seen, or you actually like her. Either way, I approve. Don't screw this up, Jay. I stared at the message for a long time. The problem was, I wasn't sure which option would be worse. The office felt different on Monday, or maybe I was different. I caught myself staring at the ring during the morning meeting. Sunlight hit the diamond, scattering rainbows across my notes. Margaret from HR noticed. Fiona. Is that new? The conference room went quiet. 12 pairs of eyes locked onto my left hand. Yes, recent. Oh my god, you're engaged. Sarah from accounting practically squealed. Who's the lucky guy? I should have prepared for this. Of course people would notice. His name is Miles. We've been dating for a few months. Miles who? Do we know him? Bennett. Miles Bennett. The temperature in the room dropped about 10 degrees. Wait, Margaret said slowly. Miles Bennett, as in Bennett Analytics. Leon Group Hair. Miles Bennett. That's the one. Dead silence, then chaos. Everyone talking at once, questions flying, disbelief evident on every face. I saw the calculations happening behind their eyes. The girl who'd worked 80-hour weeks, who drove a decade-old Honda, who brought leftovers for lunch, engaged to one of Chicago's most eligible bachelors. How did you even meet him? Sarah asked, eyes wide. Charity gala. We started talking about market trends. That's so romantic, someone said sarcastically. I looked up sharply. Brad from Mergers, senior associate. Perpetually bitter about his career plateau. I'm sorry, Brad. Did you have something to add? He leaned back in his chair, smirking. Just interesting timing. You make director. Suddenly you're engaged to a billionaire. Convenient. The room went uncomfortably silent. Careful, Brad, Margaret warned. But he continued. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Fiona's ambitious, always has been. This is just next level networking. My face burned. I stood up slowly. You're right, Brad, I am ambitious. Which is why I've closed 3 major deals this quarter while you've been busy gossiping about other people's lives. Now if you'll excuse me, I have actual work to do. I walked out, leaving my notes, my coffee, my dignity scattered across the conference table. In the bathroom, I gripped the sink and tried to breathe. This was what I'd signed up for, the scrutiny, the judgment, the assumption that I couldn't possibly have earned this on my own merits. My phone buzzed. Miles. Lunch. I'm in the area. 20:30. I stared at the message. We hadn't discussed regular contact. The contract didn't require it. But maybe, I could use a friendly face. Meet you at Rose's. See you there. She looked exhausted when she arrived at the restaurant. Her blazer was wrinkled, her hair escaping its clip. And there was something brittle in her smile. Bad morning? I asked as she slid into the booth. Word got out about the engagement. She picked up the menu without looking at it. People have opinions. Let me guess, gold digger, social climber, fortune hunter, all of the above, plus some creative new ones. She finally looked at me. I knew this would happen. I just didn't expect it to feel so degrading. The waiter came, we ordered. After he left, Fiona slumped against the booth. Tell me something true, she said suddenly. I blinked. What? We're surrounded by lies. The engagement, the story, all of it. Tell me something true. Something real about you that nobody knows. I considered deflecting, then remembered the contract. honesty about everything. I hate the family business, always have. My grandfather built Leon Group from nothing. And it's this legacy everyone's so proud of. But I look at it and just see a cage. That's why I started Bennett Analytics. It was the first thing that was actually mine. She was quiet watching me. Your turn, I said. I don't actually like finance. I nearly laughed. You're joking. I'm good at it. Really good. But I don't love it. I fell into it because I was good with numbers and it paid well, and my mom needed help with bills. By the time I realized I didn't love it, what would you do instead? She hesitated. Don't laugh. I won't. Teaching, high school math maybe. Or college level. I used to tutor in college and loved it. Watching concepts click for people, helping them understand something they thought was impossible, that's not stupid at all. It's impractical. Teachers don't make $2 million. No. I agreed. But they also don't spend their lives doing work they hate. She smiled faintly. Philosophical today, aren't we? I had 3 cups of coffee and read some Sartre. It's a dangerous combination. She laughed a real laugh, not the polite one she used at dinner with my parents. You know what's weird? She said. I feel more comfortable with you than I do with most people I've known for years. That is weird. We barely know each other. Exactly. But there's no history, no expectations. Just the contract, I echoed. Our food arrived. We ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Fiona said, Miles, can I ask you something? Sure. Why didn't you just marry Anna Clark? Wouldn't that have been easier? She's from your world, your families are connected. Everyone expects it. I set down my fork carefully. Because spending the rest of my life with someone I don't love, someone who doesn't love me, performing for our families, that's not easier. That's a different kind of prison. At least it would be real. Would it? An arrangement is an arrangement, Fiona. At least with us, we're honest about what it is. She looked at me for a long moment. That's surprisingly cynical. Or realistic. Maybe. She went back to her pasta. For what it's worth, I don't think you're cynical. I think you're careful. There's a difference. No one had ever made that distinction before. My phone buzzed. Jessica, Mom wants to throw you to an engagement party. Call me. I showed Fiona the message. She paled. An engagement party, Miles, that's expected, normal. We can't refuse without raising suspicion. How many people? Knowing my mother, 50, maybe 60. Family, friends, business associates, the usual suspects. Fiona put her head in her hands. I can't do this. I can't stand in front of 60 people and pretend. I reached across the table without thinking, touching her hand. You've already done the hard part. You convinced my family. Everyone else is easier. She looked up, and I realized how close we were sitting. How natural it felt to be here with her, having this conversation. Together, she asked quietly. Together. I returned to work with renewed determination. Brad wanted to play games. Fine. I could play. I buried myself in the Morrison acquisition file, a massive deal that had been languishing for months. If I could close it, no one would dare question my director position. Around 4 p.m. my desk phone rang. Internal line. Fiona Hayes, Mums Hayes, this is Robert Hartwell. Could you come to my office? The senior partner. Calling me directly. This couldn't be good. His office was on the top floor, all mahogany and expensive art. He gestured to the chair across from his massive desk. Fiona, congratulations on your engagement. I heard the news. Thank you, sir. Miles Bennett is a formidable businessman. I've had dealings with Bennett Analytics. Impressive operation. I waited. There was a but coming. However, I need to address a concern. There's talk, just rumors. You understand that your engagement might create conflicts of interest. Bennett Analytics and Hartwell occasionally work in competing spaces. My stomach dropped. Sir, I would never. I know that. But perception matters. The partners are concerned about propriety. Are you asking me to choose between my job and my engagement? Of course not. That would be illegal. He smiled thinly. I'm simply suggesting that you be mindful of appearances. Perhaps recuse yourself from any deals that might involve Bennett interests, just to be safe. Translation: you're on thin ice. I understand, I said through gritted teeth. Excellent. Oh, and Fiona? The Morrison deal. I'm reassigning it to Brad. He has more experience with acquisitions of that scale. The air left my lungs. That's my deal. I've been working on it for 3 months. And you've done excellent groundwork. Brad will take it from here. Mr. Hartwell, that will be all, Miss Hayes. I walked back to my desk in a daze. Brad was already at my office, boxing up my Morrison files, smirking. Nothing personal, Fiona, just business. I wanted to hit him. Instead, I smiled coldly. Enjoy the deal, Brad. Try not to fuck it up. His smirk faltered. I grabbed my coat and left. It was barely 5 p.m. but I couldn't stay in that building another second. Outside, the October air was cold and sharp. I walked aimlessly for blocks, mind spinning. This was the trade-off: financial security for my mom, yes. But also professional sabotage, being sidelined. Watching mediocre men take credit for my work because I'd married someone important. My phone rang. Miles. Hey, are you free tonight? I thought we could. They're punishing me, I said abruptly. Silence. Then, what happened? I told him everything. The conversation with Hartwell, the Morrison deal, Brad's smirk. They can't do that, Miles said, voice tight. They just did. That's discrimination. We could nothing. Fighting it means exposing the marriage as fake, which means you lose your inheritance and I lose the money. We both lose. More silence. Where are you? He asked finally. I don't know. Some park near the river. Send me your location. I'm coming to get you. Miles, you don't have to. Fiona, send me your location. I did. 15 minutes later, his car pulled up. He got out, took one look at my face, and opened his arms. I walked into them without thinking. We stood there on the sidewalk, his coat wrapped around both of us, while I tried not to cry. He said quietly. This is my fault. It's not your fault, it's the situation. Same thing. I pulled back, wiping my eyes. I look like a mess. You look like someone who had a shit day. He opened the car door. Come on, I'm taking you somewhere. You'll see. I drove us to Bennett Analytics. The building was mostly empty at this hour, just security and a few workaholics still at their desks. Why are we here? Fiona asked as we took the elevator to the 34th floor. Because I want to show you something. My office had the view she'd teased me about during our first meeting. But that wasn't why we were here. I pulled out my laptop, opened a file, and turned the screen toward her. What am I looking at? Job description. Senior Director of Strategic Finance. Bennett Analytics, salary commensurate with experience, full benefits, equity package. She stared at the screen, then at me. Miles, no. Why not? Because it looks like nepotism. Like you're hiring your wife. I'm hiring someone who closed 3 major deals in a quarter, who has a reputation for being thorough and smart, and who deserves better than being sidelined by insecure partners at a firm that doesn't value her. I can't. Why? Because, she struggled for words. Because it makes this whole thing too real. We're supposed to be separate. The contract says we live separately and divorce in 2 years. It doesn't say I can't recognize talent when I see it. I closed the laptop. At least think about it. The position is real. I've needed to fill it for months. You'd be reporting to my CFO, not to me directly. Totally above board. She sank into the chair across from my desk. This is getting complicated. It was always going to get complicated. Not like this. Miles, we're supposed to be business partners. Now you're offering me jobs. Defending me to your family, showing up when I need you. Is that a problem? I don't know. She looked at me, frustrated. What are the rules here? What are we actually doing? Surviving, I offered. She laughed, but it sounded helpless. We should probably establish boundaries. Keep this professional. Probably. Neither of us moved. Can I ask you something? She said finally. Always. If this were real, if we'd met normally, dated normally, gotten engaged because we actually wanted to, would this be different? The question hung in the air between us. Yes, I said honestly. And no, I'd still want to help you. I'd still be furious about how your firm treated you. I'd still think you deserve better. The feelings would be the same, just the context would be different. That's what I'm afraid of, she whispered. What do you mean? She stood up, walked to the window. The city sprawled below us, lights beginning to twinkle as evening fell. I mean that sometimes when we're together, I forget it's fake. And that's dangerous. I should have said something reassuring, something about maintaining boundaries, keeping perspective, remembering the contract. Instead, I said, yeah, it is. She turned to look at me. Miles. My phone rang. Mom. We both stared at it. You should, Aunt said. I answered. Mom, Miles, wonderful news. I've booked the club for your engagement party. 3 weeks from Saturday. Fiona should come over this weekend to discuss details, menu, guest list, that sort of thing. Is she with you? I looked at Fiona. Yes, she's here. Perfect. Can I talk to her? I handed Fiona the phone. Watched her face shift into performance mode. Hi, Catherine. Yes, Saturday works great. I'd love to help plan. No. I don't have dietary restrictions. That sounds beautiful. Okay, see you then. She handed back the phone. Mom was still talking about flowers and seating charts. I half listened. Watching Fiona retreat back into her careful distance. After I hung up, she said, I should go. Early morning tomorrow. I'll drive you home. I can take the train. Fiona. I'm driving you home. The car ride was quiet. Not the comfortable silence from lunch, but something heavier. Weighted with things we weren't saying. At her apartment building, she unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't get out immediately. The job, she said. Can I have a week to think about it? Take all the time you need. And Miles, thank you. For today, for listening. That's what partners do, right? Partners. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Good night. I watched her go inside, feeling like we'd crossed some invisible line today, not sure if that was progress or a mistake. My phone buzzed. Jessica again. Mom's going crazy with party planning. Fair warning. She invited the Clarks, including Anna. This should be interesting. Great. Just what this situation needed. More complications. Catherine Bennett's casual planning session turned out to be a full-scale military operation. The dining table was covered in fabric swatches, flower arrangements, menu options, and seating charts that looked like complex mathematical equations. Now, Fiona dear, what are your thoughts on peonies versus garden roses? I looked at the two nearly identical pink flowers. They're both beautiful. Jessica snorted into her coffee. She'd been watching me flounder for the past hour with obvious amusement. Very diplomatic, Catherine said. We'll do both. Now, the guest list. I've got about 60 confirmed. But we should discuss anyone special you'd like to invite. Family, friends, colleagues. My stomach tightened. My family consisted of my mother currently recovering from surgery and some distant cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. My friends were mostly work acquaintances who probably thought I was a fraud. My mom, obviously. She's recovering from surgery, so she might need to leave early, and maybe my friend Rachel. That's it. Catherine looked concerned. I'm not particularly close with my extended family, and most of my friendships are professional. Jessica set down her coffee. Translation: she's a workaholic who sacrificed her social life for her career. I relate. Jessica, Catherine scolded. What? It's true. No judgment, Fiona. I respect the hustle. Catherine sighed. Well, I've invited some family friends who I think you'll enjoy. The Harringtons, the Lees, the Clarks. I tried to keep my voice neutral. Yes, Anna Clark and her parents. Anna and Miles went to college together. I thought it would be nice to. Mom. Miles appeared in the doorway, looking annoyed. Can I talk to you? Privately. They disappeared into the kitchen. I could hear muffled argument through the door. Jessica leaned over. Anna's his ex. Well, sort of. They dated briefly in college. Family wanted them to get married. Miles said no. He told me. Did he tell you that Anna's been texting him since you two got engaged? My head snapped toward her. What? Oh yeah. Lots of I made a mistake, and can we talk energy? She's not handling the news well. Jessica, are you trying to make Fiona uncomfortable? Catherine returned, shooting her daughter a look. I'm trying to prepare her. Anna can be persistent. Miles followed his mother back in. Fiona, can we talk? Outside. We walked out to the garden. October had turned cold, but I barely felt it. I didn't know Mom invited Anna. Miles said immediately. I told her it was inappropriate, but she insists it would be rude not to include a family friend. It's fine. It's not fine. Having my ex at our engagement party. Fake engagement party. I corrected. For our fake engagement. Why should I care about your ex? Something flashed across his face. Right, of course. We stood there awkwardly. Jessica said Anna's been texting you. I said, trying to sound casual. She has. I haven't responded. You don't owe me an explanation. We're not actually together. Fiona, I should go. Tell your mom the flowers are lovely. Whatever she picks is fine. I walked back through the house, grabbed my coat, and left before anyone could stop me. On the train home, I stared at my reflection in the dark window. This was getting messy. Complicated in ways the contract hadn't accounted for. My phone buzzed. Miles, can we talk about what just happened? Nothing happened. See you at the party. I put my phone on silent. Fiona was avoiding me. My calls went to voicemail. My texts got one-word responses. When I showed up at Hartwell's building to talk to her, security informed me she'd left early. She's busy. Miles. Rachel told me when I finally tracked her down at a coffee shop. Big case, long hours, you know how it is. She's avoiding me. Rachel sighed. Can you blame her? Your ex is texting you, your mom invited said ex to your engagement party. And you two are pretending to be in love while having zero actual emotional framework for dealing with real complications. It's a mess. Thank you for that clinical assessment. You're welcome. She sipped her latte. Look, I like you. I think you're good for Fiona better than Dylan ever was. But this arrangement you two have, it's going to implode if you don't establish actual boundaries and communication. We have boundaries. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're acting like a real couple who won't admit they have real feelings. That's not. I stopped. We have a contract. Contracts are for businesses, Miles. This stopped being just business the moment you gave her your grandmother's ring. I didn't have a response to that. Wednesday afternoon. I was in a meeting when my assistant interrupted. "Mr. Bennett, there's someone here to see you. She says it's urgent." Anna Clark stood in my lobby, perfectly put together in a camel coat, smiling like we were old friends. "Miles, finally. I've been trying to reach you. I've been busy. Too busy for an old friend." She tilted her head. "Can we talk? Just 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I led her to my office. "So," she said, settling into the chair Fiona had sat in last week. "You're engaged, that's sudden." "Not really. We've been dating for 6 months. Odd that you never mentioned her. In all those texts we exchanged over the past year, you never once brought up a girlfriend. We kept it private. Or she didn't exist until recently." Anna crossed her legs. "Miles. I know what this is. Your grandfather's ultimatum, the inheritance. You needed anyone to avoid marrying me." "That's not. I'm not judging. I understand family pressure better than anyone, but hiring a wife, that's extreme even for you." My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about? Please." Fiona Hayes appears out of nowhere. "You get engaged within months. She's wearing your grandmother's ring, a ring your mother told my mother was being held for your future wife." The timeline doesn't add up. "Anna, I'm not here to expose you," she interrupted. "I'm here to offer an alternative. Marry me, it's what our families want anyway. We can have an arrangement no different from what you have with her, except legitimate. We've known each other for years. We actually make sense." I stood up. "Anna, I'm in love with Fiona. Whatever you think this is, you're wrong. Now please leave." "Are you though? In love with her?" She stood too, moving closer. "Or is this just the best bad option you could find? Get out." She held up her hands. "Fine. But Miles, when this falls apart and it will, don't say I didn't warn you." After she left, I sat at my desk for a long time. The problem was I couldn't definitively say she was wrong. The engagement party dress hung in my closet like an accusation. Midnight blue, elegant. Expensive. Miles had insisted on paying for it. "You can't show up to a Bennett event in off the rack," he'd said. Now I stood in front of my mirror, barely recognizing myself. My phone buzzed. "Mom. Honey, I'm so sorry. The doctor wants me to rest for another week. I can't make it to the party." Relief and disappointment warred in my chest. "It's okay, Mom. Your health comes first. I wanted to be there for you. To meet Miles properly. You'll meet him. When you're better. Don't worry." After we hung up, I stared at my reflection. No family support. No real friends attending. Just me, walking into a room full of people who would judge everything about me. My phone buzzed again. "Miles. Car's outside whenever you're ready. No rush." I grabbed my coat. Miles was waiting by a sleek black car, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my rent. When he saw me, he went very still. He stopped. "Really beautiful. Thanks. You clean up well too." The drive to the country club was quiet. I could see him glancing at me periodically, like he wanted to say something. "Fiona, about Anna." "I don't want to talk about Anna. She came to my office. She thinks our marriage is fake." I turned to look at him. "What did you tell her?" "That I'm in love with you and she's wrong." Something in my chest tightened. Good lie. Was it? He looked at me. A lie. The car pulled up to the club before I could answer. The ballroom was stunning, all gold and crystal, flowers everywhere, soft jazz playing. 60 people mingled with champagne. A perfect picture of society elegance. Every head turned when we entered. Miles took my hand, his was warm, steady, ready. He murmured. "No, me neither. Let's go." The next hour was a blur of introductions, congratulations, curious stares. Miles never left my side, his hand on my waist or holding mine, playing the devoted fiancé perfectly. Then I saw her. Anna Clark was breathtaking in a red dress, talking with an older couple. When she saw us, she smiled and walked over. "Miles. Fiona, congratulations." "Anna, thanks for coming." Miles' voice was carefully neutral. "I wouldn't miss it." Her eyes locked onto mine. "Fiona, you look lovely. That dress is perfect on you." "Thank you." Miles always had excellent taste. She sipped her champagne. "I'm so happy for you both, really. After everything, I asked carefully. "Oh, Miles hasn't told you about our history. We dated in college. Almost got engaged, actually." Our families were thrilled. But Miles, well, he wanted something different. Miles' hand tightened on my waist. "That's ancient history, Anna," he said. "Of course. I just think it's funny how life works out. You spent years avoiding marriage and now suddenly." She gestured to us. "It's like something just clicked." "Something did," I said, surprising myself. I clicked. Because Miles wasn't avoiding marriage, he was avoiding marrying the wrong person. The smile froze on Anna's face. "If you'll excuse us," Miles said smoothly, steering me away. We made it to the balcony before I started shaking. I shouldn't have said that. That was rude. That was perfect. Miles turned me to face him. Fiona, I'm sorry. For Anna. For this whole situation. Don't apologize. We're supposed to convince people we're in love. Mission accomplished. Is that what we're doing? Convincing people. I looked up at him. We were standing very close. I could see flecks of gold in his eyes, the sharp line of his jaw, the way he was looking at me like it wasn't entirely fake. I don't know anymore, I whispered. Fiona. There you are. Jessica burst onto the balcony. Mom wants you for the toast. Both of you. Now. The moment shattered. Inside, Catherine tapped her champagne glass. The room quieted. Thank you all for coming to celebrate Miles and Fiona. When Miles first told me about Fiona, I could hear it in his voice. This was different. Special watching them together tonight. I see why. Fiona, welcome to our family. Miles, I've never seen you happier. She raised her glass. To Miles and Fiona. May you always find your way back to each other. To Miles and Fiona. The room echoed. Miles kissed me. Softly, briefly. For show. It felt like everything and nothing at all. I woke up at 6 a.m., mind already racing. The party had ended around midnight. I'd driven Fiona home, we'd barely spoken. She'd looked at me before getting out of the car, really looked and said, "We need to talk. Soon. About boundaries." I'd agreed. Now, running along the lakefront, I tried to untangle what was happening. The arrangement was simple on paper, 2 years, no emotional entanglement, clean divorce. But paper didn't account for the way she laughed at my stupid jokes. The way she fit perfectly against my side at parties. The way kissing her, even for show, had started to feel like the most honest thing I did all day. My phone buzzed. Fiona, coffee, we should have that talk. My stomach tightened. Same place, 9 a.m., see you there. Fiona was already at our table, 2 coffees waiting. She looked tired, hair in a messy bun, wearing jeans and an oversized sweater. She'd never looked more beautiful. She said. We sat in awkward silence for a moment.
So, she started last night.
Anna, the kiss? All of it? All of it, I agreed. Miles, I think we need to admit something. This stopped being purely business a while ago. My heart rate spiked. What do you mean? I mean you show up when I need you. You defend me to your family, you offered me a job, you kiss me at parties and it feels. She stopped. Real, too real. Would that be so terrible? Yes, because in 2 years, we're getting divorced. That's the contract. That's what we agreed. Contracts can be renegotiated. She stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe we stop pretending. Maybe we admit that whatever this started as, it's become something else. Something worth exploring. You want to actually date. While being married. I want to stop lying to myself about what I feel when I'm with you. She was quiet for a long time, fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. What do you feel? She asked finally. Like I want to know everything about you. Your favorite books, why you chose finance over teaching, what you dream about. Like when I'm not with you, I'm thinking about when I'll see you next. Like this fake marriage might be the realest thing I've ever done. She looked up at me, eyes bright with unshaded tears. Miles, I can't let myself feel that way. Why not? Because you paid me $2 million to be your wife. If this becomes real, if we actually try and it doesn't work out, I'll always wonder if it was ever genuine. If you ever actually wanted me, or if I was just convenient. The words hit like a physical blow. Fiona. And what if it does work? What if we fall in love for real, and then in 2 years, when the contract is up, you realize you don't actually want to be married to me? That you just wanted the security of knowing there was an exit plan. You can't promise me that. Neither of us can. She stood up. I think we need space. Real space. Separate lives except for necessary appearances. The way we originally planned. Is that what you want? It's what's safe. She grabbed her coat. I'll see you at the next required event. Otherwise, let's keep this professional. She left before I could respond. I sat there alone, coffee getting cold, realizing I'd just lost something I didn't even know I had. Keeping distance from Miles was harder than I expected. He respected my boundaries, no unnecessary calls, no surprise visits, no texts unless they were about upcoming family obligations. But his absence felt like a physical ache. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into cases, stayed late every night, proved to Hartwell and everyone else that I'd earned my position. Rachel noticed. You look like hell, she said, appearing at my desk with coffee. When's the last time you slept? When? Between the hours of 4 and 5 a.m., I rubbed my eyes. What do you want, Rachel? I want my friend to stop punishing herself. You ran away from Miles. Fine, but now you're miserable, he's miserable, and you're both pretending everything's fine. It's exhausting to watch. Why made the right choice? Keeping distance. Did you? Because from where I'm sitting, you had something good and you sabotaged it because you were scared. I wasn't scared. You were terrified. You always are when things get real. Remember sophomore year. You dumped Jason 3 days before he was gonna say, I love you. Senior year. You ghosted Michael the second things got serious. Now Miles. That's different. Miles and I have a contract. A business arrangement. Bullshit. You have feelings for him. He has feelings for you. The contract is just an excuse to avoid dealing with that. I was saved from responding by my desk phone ringing. Fiona Hayes. Ems Hayes. It's Robert Hartwell, my office, now. My stomach dropped. Hartwell's office felt smaller today, more oppressive. Fiona, we need to discuss your future at this firm. Sir. If this is about the Bennett situation again, it's about the Morrison deal. I blinked. The deal Brad's working on. The deal Brad catastrophically mishandled. He's lost us the client, embarrassed the firm, and cost us approximately $15 million in fees. I struggled to keep my face neutral. I'm sorry to hear that. The client called me this morning. Said if we want to salvage the relationship, they want you back on the account. Only you. My heart pounded. What about Brad? Brad is being reassigned to a desk, in a basement, in our Pittsburgh office. Hartwell almost smiled. They asked for you specifically, Fiona. Said you were the only one who actually understood their business. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. Thank yourself, you earned this? He leaned forward. I was wrong. About sidelining you, about the conflicts of interest concerns. You've proven your value has nothing to do with who you're married to. I apologize. I walked out of his office in a daze. Brad was already cleaning out his desk when I returned to my floor. Congratulations. He said bitterly, you win. This isn't about winning, Brad, right? It's about merit, talent, not at all about who you're sleeping with. I stopped, turned, walked right up to his desk. You know what your problem is, Brad? You assume everyone else got where they are the same way you did by cutting corners and taking credit for other people's work. I got this deal back because I'm good at my job. Because I show up, do the work, and treat clients like human beings instead of walking wallets. Maybe if you tried that, you wouldn't be moving to Pittsburgh. I walked away before he could respond. At my desk, I pulled out my phone. Stared at Miles' contact. Rachel's words echoed. You had something good and you sabotaged it. Before I could talk myself out of it, I typed. I got the Morrison deal back. Want to celebrate? 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Appeared again. I'd love to. Pick you up at 7, see you then. I had 4 hours to figure out what the hell I was doing. She'd suggested an actual restaurant this time, not our coffee shop. Somewhere nicer Italian place in West Loop, intimate lighting, real tablecloths. I arrived early, nervous. When had I become nervous around her? Fiona walked in exactly at 7, wearing a simple black dress that somehow made everyone else in the restaurant disappear. Hi, she said, sliding into the booth. Hi. Congratulations on the deal, thanks. It felt good, validation, you know. I do know. We ordered wine. The conversation started stilted, formal, like we were strangers again. Then the wine arrived and Fiona said, I'm sorry. I looked up. For what? For running. You were honest about your feelings, and I panicked. That wasn't fair to you. You had valid concerns. I do. But Rachel pointed out something. She took a sip of wine. I have a pattern. When things get real. When someone gets close, I find an excuse to leave. I did it in college, I did it with Dylan sort of, and I almost did it with you. Almost. I'm here. Aren't I? You are. She set down her glass. Miles, I need you to understand something. I've spent my entire adult life taking care of other people. My mom, Dylan's grandfather. Colleagues who expected me to pick up their slack. I never put myself first. Never let myself want things just for me. And you scare me. Because when I'm with you, I want things, selfish things, like more time together, real conversations, the possibility that maybe this could be something beyond a contract. My heart was pounding. Those don't sound selfish, they sound human. But what if I'm wrong? What if I let myself want this, want you, and then we deal with it together? I reached across the table. She took my hand. Fiona, I can't promise this will work out perfectly. I can't promise we won't hurt each other or that we won't have regrets. But I can promise I'm not going anywhere. 2-year contract or not, I choose you every day, I choose you. She was crying now but smiling too. That's incredibly cheesy. I know. I googled romantic things to say on the drive over. She laughed through tears. You're such an idiot. You're idiot. Yeah, she whispered. My idiot. I kissed her across the table, not for show, not for anyone watching, just because I wanted to and because she was letting me. When we broke apart, she said, so what now? Do we rewrite the contract? Screw the contract, let's just be together, see what happens. No rules, no guidelines, just one rule: honesty, about everything, how we feel, what we want, what scares us. Deal. We stayed at that restaurant until closing, talking about everything. Our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. Getting to know each other without the pretense, without the performance. Around midnight, walking to the car, Fiona stopped. Miles. Yeah. I think I'm falling for you. The words hung in the cold night air. I think I've been falling for you since the day we signed that ridiculous contract. I admitted. Complete idiots. She kissed me again. Take me home, yours or mine. Surprise me. We ended up at my place. Not for anything dramatic, just existing in the same space. She curled up on my couch with tea, wearing one of my sweatshirts, reading while I worked on my laptop. Perfect domesticity. Around 2 a.m. she fell asleep. I carried her to the guest room, tucked her in. As I turned to leave, she grabbed my hand. Stay. You sure? I don't want to be alone. Not tonight. I lay down next to her, fully clothed, letting her curl against my side. Miles, her voice was sleepy. This is nice. Being honest. Yeah. It really is. She fell asleep within minutes. I stayed awake longer, feeling the weight of her against me, thinking about how spectacularly we'd complicated this arrangement, and not regretting it at all. 3 weeks of actual dating Miles was disorienting in the best way. We still maintained separate apartments mostly, but increasingly, I'd wake up in his guest room after falling asleep during late-night conversations. Or he'd crash on my couch after we'd ordered takeout and lost track of time. This is weird. Right? I asked one Thursday evening, watching him cook pasta in my tiny kitchen. He'd brought groceries, made himself at home. What's weird? We got married, then started dating, then are now doing this, domestic whatever this is. The order's completely backward. He smiled, not looking up from the pan. Does it matter? The order? I guess not. My phone buzzed. Dylan. I'd blocked him months ago, but he'd found new ways to reach me. This time LinkedIn. Fiona, I heard you married Miles Bennett. I need to talk to you, it's important, please. Miles noticed my expression. What's wrong?
Dylan.
He's persistent. Want me to handle it? No, I should. I typed back. There's nothing to discuss. Please stop contacting me. I blocked the new account. Miles set down his spatula, turned to me. Does he worry you? Should I be concerned? He's annoying. Not dangerous. Just can't accept that I've moved on. Have you? Moved on? I looked at him, really looked. At this man who'd become my favorite person to talk to, who made me laugh, who remembered I liked my coffee with oat milk even though I'd mentioned it once in passing. Yeah, completely. He kissed me. Soft, sweet tasting of tomato sauce. Good. Because this pasta is going to burn if we keep getting distracted. Grandfather's health was deteriorating. Father called on a Friday afternoon. The doctors say it's time. He wants to see you. Alone. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and impending death. Grandfather looked smaller than I remembered, frail against white sheets. Miles. His voice was weak but sharp. I sat. You did it, got married, satisfied the requirement. He coughed. Tell me about her, your wife. Her name's Fiona. I know her name. I asked about her, who she is, what she means to you. I hesitated. She's the smartest person I know. Funny, driven, doesn't take my shit. She makes me want to be better. You love her. The question should have been simple. Instead it felt loaded. I do. Good. He closed his eyes. I was wrong, you know. About forcing your hand. About making marriage a condition of inheritance. I thought I was protecting the family legacy. Instead, I almost made you as miserable as I made your grandmother. I blinked. What? Arranged marriage, 1960s. Her family needed money, mine needed respectability. We learned to love each other eventually, but those first years. He opened his eyes. Don't waste time, Miles. If you love her, tell her, every day. Don't let pride or fear or stupid family obligations get in the way. I won, Miles. The inheritance, I'm changing it. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Removing the marriage requirement, effective immediately. You keep everything regardless. I won't force you to stay married if it's not what you want. The words hit like a truck. I don't understand. Why tell me this now? Because I'm dying, boy. And I want to die knowing I fixed my mistake. You married Fiona because you had to. Now you get to choose to stay married because you want to. He drifted off to sleep before I could respond. I sat there for an hour, mind racing. The contract with Fiona was predicated on the inheritance requirement. 2 years, then divorce. But if there was no requirement anymore? Did I tell her? Did it change anything? My phone buzzed. Fiona, dinner at mine. I'm attempting to cook. It's going poorly but entertainingly. I stared at the message. Be there in 30. I didn't tell her about grandfather's news. Not yet. Not until I figured out what it meant. Catherine insisted on hosting a small family dinner to celebrate Thanksgiving early, since Jessica would be traveling for the actual holiday. Small meant 15 people. I spent the week anxious, trying to prepare. Miles was distracted, quieter than usual. When I asked if everything was okay, he said work stress. I didn't push. The dinner was at the Bennett estate. I arrived early to help set up, partially to be polite, partially to avoid the awkwardness of walking in when everyone was already there. Fiona, darling. Catherine hugged me. Come, I need your opinion on the seating chart. The dining room was already set, crystal, china, enough silverware to confuse a etiquette expert. Catherine, this is beautiful. You didn't have to do all this nonsense. Your family now. She squeezed my hand. How's married life treating you? It's good. Different than I expected, but good. Miles seems happier. Lighter. That's your influence. Guilt twisted in my stomach. She didn't know our marriage had started as a business transaction. That we'd only recently started actually dating. That everything she believed about us was built on a foundation of lies. I managed. Guests started arriving. Richard's business partners, family friend, Jessica with a new girlfriend who looked terrified. Then Anna Clark walked in. I froze. I thought you said small family dinner. Catherine looked uncomfortable. The Clarks are old family friends. I couldn't not invite them. But don't worry, Anna's bringing a date. Some lawyer from her firm. Anna did indeed have a date, handsome, charming, clearly smitten with her. They looked perfect together. So why did seeing her make my chest tight? Miles appeared at my elbow, hand on my lower back. You okay? Fine. Why wouldn't I be? Because Anna's here and you have that look. What look? The one you get when you're pretending everything's fine but actually planning someone's demise. Despite myself, I smiled. I don't have a look. You absolutely do. Dinner started smoothly. I was seated between Miles and one of Richard's partners, an older man who spent 20 minutes explaining his golf handicap in excruciating detail. Across the table, Anna and her date were the picture of a perfect couple. She laughed at his jokes, touched his arm, looked genuinely happy. Good for her. Really. Then dessert came, and Catherine tapped her glass. I just want to say how grateful I am to have all of you here. Family, friends, and new additions. She smiled at me. Fiona, you've been such a wonderful surprise. Miles has never been happier. Everyone raised their glasses. I smiled, tried to look natural. And, Catherine continued, I know it's early, but Richard and I are already looking forward to grandchildren. No pressure, of course. The room laughed. I felt Miles tense beside me. Anna spoke up, voice sweet. Catherine. Isn't it a bit soon? They've only been married a few months. One you know. Catherine said warmly. Of course. I'm just surprised Miles is ready for that step. He always said he wanted to wait years before thinking about children. Anna smiled at me. Has he changed his mind, Fiona? Every eye in the room turned to me. We haven't really discussed it in detail, I said carefully. Oh, that seems like something you'd discuss before marriage. Anna tilted her head, all innocence. Unless things moved faster than expected. Miles set down his fork with deliberate calm. Anna, I'm not sure why you're so interested in my marriage, but it's starting to feel inappropriate. I'm just making conversation. You're making trouble. Jessica cut in. Anna, we all know you're bitter about Miles choosing someone else, but this passive-aggressive bullshit is embarrassing. For you, silence. Anna's face flushed red. Her date looked uncomfortable. Catherine looked mortified. Jessica, Richard warned. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Jessica raised her glass to me. Fiona, welcome to the family. Anna, there's the door. Anna stood up, voice tight. I think we should leave. Thank you for dinner, Catherine. She and her date left. The room remained awkwardly silent. Then Richard started laughing. Actually laughing. Well, that was entertaining. The tension broke. People started talking again, the dinner resumed. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Anna had seen something. Some crack in our facade. After dinner, I found Jessica on the back patio smoking, a habit she'd supposedly quit. That was reckless, I said. That was necessary. Anna was being a bitch. She took a drag. You're welcome, by the way. I didn't need you to defend Fiona. Clearly you did. Because you were just sitting there letting Anna needle her with those passive, aggressive questions about kids and marriage timelines. I was handling it. You were frozen. Like a deer in headlights. She studied me. Miles, what's going on? And don't say nothing. I know you. I leaned against the railing, looking out at the dark garden. Grandfather's changing the will, removing the marriage requirement. Jessica went very still. When? He told me last week. Said he'd have the lawyers draw up the paperwork. It's probably already done. Does Fiona know? No, Miles, I know. I need to tell her. But Jess, what if she only stayed because of the contract? Because of the money and the agreement and the clean timeline. Do you actually believe that? I thought about the past 3 weeks. The easy conversations. The way she laughed at my jokes. The morning I found her making coffee in my kitchen, wearing my shirt, looking like she belonged there. No. But I'm scared that without the structure of the contract, without the clear boundaries and endpoint, she'll panic and run. That's not fair to her. She deserves to know the truth. I will tell her. Just, not yet. Not until I figure out how. Jessica stubbed out her cigarette. You're making a mistake. The longer you wait, the worse it'll be when she finds out you kept this from her. I know. Then tell her. Tonight. But I didn't. Instead, I drove Fiona home, kissed her goodnight, and watched her walk into her building, all while keeping the biggest secret of our marriage locked inside. Monday morning, I was at my desk when an unexpected email arrived. From Morrison and Chen, legal subject, contract modification, Bennett Hayes marriage agreement. My hands shook as I opened it. Dear Ms. Hayes, this is to inform you that per the recent changes to Leonard Bennett's will, the inheritance clause that necessitated Miles Bennett's marriage has been removed. As such, the original contract between you and Miles Bennett may be modified or dissolved early without penalty to either party. Please contact us to discuss your options at your earliest convenience. The words blurred. The inheritance requirement was gone. Had been gone for weeks, apparently. Based on the date stamp on the legal documents attached, Miles knew he had to know, and he hadn't told me. I grabbed my phone, texted him. We need to talk. Now. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. I'm in a meeting. Can it wait until tonight? No, it can't. Give me an hour. That hour felt like a lifetime. I stared at the email, at the contract modifications, at the carefully worded legal language that essentially said you're free. Both of you. No penalties, no obligations. Why hadn't he told me? When Miles called, I answered on the first ring. Fiona. The inheritance requirement is gone. Silence. When were you planning to tell me? My voice was shaking. Or were you just going to keep pretending we had to stay married for the money? It's not like that. Then what's it like, Miles? Explain it to me. Because from where I'm sitting, you've been lying to me for weeks. After we agreed to be honest, after I told you about my fears and my patterns and you promised. I was scared. His voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear it. Scared of what? That if you knew there was no requirement anymore, no contract holding us together, you'd leave. That this wasn't strong enough to stand on its own without the structure. I closed my eyes. So you lied. I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you yet. I was waiting for the right time. There's no right time for this, Miles. This is exactly what I was afraid of. That our relationship was built on a business arrangement. Not real feelings. And now you've proven it. That's not fair, isn't it? You kept this from me because you didn't trust that what we have is real. Which means you don't trust me. Or us. Fiona, please. Can we talk about this in person? I don't want to see you right now. Don't do this. Don't run because you're scared. I'm not running because I'm scared. I'm leaving because you lied. My voice cracked. We had one rule, Miles. Honesty, and you broke it, Fiona. I hung up. Then I sat at my desk and cried. Fiona wasn't answering my calls. I'd tried texting, calling, even showing up at her apartment. She wouldn't buzz me in. Rachel finally agreed to meet me at a coffee shop. She's furious, Rich said without preamble. And hurt. You really messed up. I know, I just need to explain. There's nothing to explain, Miles. You had vital information about your relationship and you kept it from her. For weeks. That's a betrayal. I was going to tell her. When? After she figured it out herself. That's exactly what happened. Rachel stirred her coffee aggressively. Fiona has spent her entire life with people who lie to her, manipulate her, use her. She thought you were different. I am different. Then why did you do the exact thing she was afraid of? I had no answer. She thinks your feelings aren't real. Rachel continued. That you only kept the relationship going because you were scared to be alone, not because you actually want to be with her. That's not true. Then prove it. Give her space, and when she's ready to talk, be completely honest. No more secrets. No more strategic omissions. How long should I wait? Rachel looked at me with something like pity. As long as it takes. Work became my obsession, 18-hour days, back-to-back meetings, anything to avoid thinking about the empty space where Fiona used to be. Jessica called me out during a family dinner. You look like hell. Thanks. Have you talked to her? She won't talk to me? Good. I looked up sharply. Good. You hurt her, Miles. She has every right to make you sit with that for a while. Jessica cut her steak with unnecessary force. You know what your problem is. You're so used to controlling everything that when something actually matters, something you can't control or predict, you panic and self-sabotage. I didn't self-sabotage. You kept a massive secret from the woman you claimed to love because you were scared. That's textbook self-sabotage. She pointed her fork at me. If you actually love her, fix it, and by fix it, I mean grovel. Extensively. I've tried. Try harder. Mom was recovering well from surgery. Strong enough to notice I was miserable. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Every time I ask about Miles, you change the subject. We were having tea in her small living room. The medical bills were paid. She was healthy. Everything I'd sacrificed for was working out. So why did I feel so empty? We're having some problems, I admitted finally. What kind of problems? The kind where he kept something important from me. Where I don't know if I can trust him anymore. Mom was quiet for a moment. Do you love him? The question caught me off guard. I don't know. Maybe. I thought I did. But now I'm not sure if any of it was real. Fiona, love isn't about certainty. It's about choosing someone even when you're scared, even when it's hard. She took my hand. Your father and I had problems. Terrible fights. Times when I wasn't sure we'd make it. But we chose each other, every day. Even when it would have been easier to walk away. Miles lied to me. Did he? Or did he make a mistake because he was scared of losing you? I didn't answer. I'm not saying you should forgive him immediately. Mom continued. But maybe ask yourself, is this relationship worth fighting for? Is he worth giving a second chance? I thought about Miles. His terrible jokes. The way he listened when I talked about work. How he'd shown up at my lowest moments. The safety I felt when I was with him. I don't know how to forgive him. I whispered. Start by talking to him. Really talking. Not texting. Not avoiding, actually sitting down and being honest about how you feel. What if it doesn't work out? Then at least you'll know you tried. But Fiona, running away when things get hard, that's not protecting yourself. That's just being scared. She was right. I hated that she was right. I texted Miles on a Thursday evening. Can we talk? He responded immediately. Yes. When and where? Tomorrow night. Your place, 7 p.m. I'll be there. I spent the entire next day anxious. Rehearsing what I'd say, how I'd say it, whether I was ready to hear his side. By 6:45 I was standing outside his building, shaking. He buzzed me up immediately. Miles looked terrible. Hair unkempt. He'd clearly been working too much, sleeping too little. Hi, he said. We stood in his doorway awkwardly. Come in, please. His apartment was messier than I'd ever seen it. Papers everywhere. Empty coffee cups. The controlled, put-together Miles was nowhere to be found. You look awful, I said. I feel awful. We sat on opposite ends of his couch, too much space between us. I don't know how to start, I admitted. Let me start. Fiona, I'm sorry. I should have told you about the inheritance change immediately. I was scared and selfish and I made a terrible choice. There's no excuse. Why didn't you tell me? He took a breath. Because for the first time in my life, I had something I actually cared about. Something real, not an obligation or expectation. And I was terrified that without the contract structure, without the clear boundaries, you'd realize you didn't actually want to be with me. That's not. Let me finish. Please. He looked at me, eyes red-rimmed. You were right. About everything. Our relationship was built on a line not about our feelings, but about the foundation. And instead of trusting that what we'd built was strong enough to stand on its own, I kept information from you because I was scared. I betrayed your trust. I was crying now. I told you about my patterns. About how I run when things get real. And you promised me honesty. That was our one rule. I know. So where do we go from here? How do I trust you again? He was quiet for a long moment. I don't know if you can. Maybe you shouldn't. But Fiona, I'm asking for a chance to prove to you that my feelings are real. That I choose you, not because of a contract or an inheritance or convenience, but because I love you. The words hung in the air. You love me. I love you. I should have said it weeks ago. I love your terrible jokes and your competitive streak, and the way you get worked up about market trends. I love that you're brilliant and fierce and you don't take anyone's shit. I love you and I'm sorry I made you doubt that. I couldn't breathe. Miles. You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Whether you decide to give me another chance or not, I needed you to know that this is real for me. You're real for me. I wiped my eyes. I'm still angry at you. You should be. And I don't know if I can forgive you easily. I don't expect you to, but I love you too. And I'm terrified of that. He looked up sharply. What? I love you, you idiot. I've been in love with you for weeks. Maybe months. And when you lied to me, it confirmed every fear I had that this wasn't real. That I was just convenient, that eventually you'd realize you don't actually want me. That's never gonna happen. You don't know that. I do know that. Fiona. I would give up everything, the inheritance, the company, all of it to be with you. That's how certain I am. I wanted to believe him. Desperately. I need time, I said finally. To process this, to figure out if I can trust you again. I'll wait as long as you need. And I need complete honesty. About everything. No more secrets, no more holding back because you're scared. If we do this, we do it for real, I promise. Complete honesty. We sat in silence for a while, not touching, but not as far apart as we'd been. Miles. Yeah, can I stay tonight? Not like together, just, I don't want to be alone. Of course. He set up the guest room like he had dozens of times before. But at the doorway he paused. For what it's worth, I meant what I said. I love you. And I'll spend however long it takes proving that to you. I know. After he left, I lay in the dark, trying to sort through the tangle of feelings. I loved him, he loved me. But love wasn't enough if we couldn't trust each other. The question was, could we build that trust? Or had he broken something irreparable? Fiona agreed to try again. With conditions. Would date properly this time, she said over coffee. No living together, no sleepovers, no falling into old patterns. We go on actual dates, we talk. I can do that. And therapy. Couples therapy. Because we clearly have communication issues. Agreed. And Miles, if you keep anything from me again, anything at all, we're done. For real this time. Understood. She studied me across the table. Okay, let's try this. Again, our first, official, date was dinner and a movie, painfully normal, almost awkward. We were both trying too hard, too aware of what we'd almost lost. But by the third date, a cooking class where we catastrophically failed to make pasta, things started feeling easier. More natural. This is a disaster, Fiona laughed, looking at our lumpy, misshapen noodles. It's abstract art. It's inedible. Details. The instructor diplomatically suggested we stick to the pre-made pasta for the sauce portion. Walking back to the car, Fiona slipped her hand into mine. Simple.
Easy, real? This is nice, she said.
Yeah, just being together. No pressure, no expectations. Just us. Our therapist, Dr. Martinez, was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who called out our bullshit immediately. So let me understand. She said in our first session. You entered a contract marriage for financial reasons, fell in love accidentally, then nearly destroyed it by keeping secrets. That's accurate, I admitted. And now you're here to figure out if this relationship can survive outside the structure of a contract. Fiona nodded. Dr. Martinez looked between us. Here's what I'm seeing. Two people who are terrified of vulnerability. Miles, you control everything in your life. So when you couldn't control your feelings for Fiona, you tried to control the information instead. Fiona, you've spent so long taking care of everyone else that you don't know how to let someone take care of you. So when Miles offered real emotional intimacy, you looked for reasons to run. We were both silent. The good news, you're both here. That means you're both willing to do the work. But it's going to require letting go of control, embracing uncertainty, and being vulnerable in ways that scare you both. Over the next few weeks, we learned to communicate. Really communicate. I need you to tell me when you're scared, Fiona said during one session. Not hide things to protect me. I'm not fragile. And I need you to tell me when you're overwhelmed. I countered. Not just handle everything alone until you break. You both need to practice being honest even when it's uncomfortable. Dr. Martinez added. That's how you build trust. 6 weeks into our new relationship, my mom asked to meet Miles again. Properly this time, she said. Not at a chaotic engagement party, just dinner. The three of us. I panicked immediately. What if she doesn't like him? What if she figures out we started as a business arrangement? What if, Fiona? Miles stopped my spiral. Your mom will like me because I love you. And if she doesn't, we'll deal with it together. Okay? Together. Together. The dinner was at Mom's apartment. Miles brought flowers and wine. I spent the entire time watching them interact, looking for signs of disaster. So Miles, Mom said over chicken, tell me about your family. Complicated, wealthy, full of expectations I've spent my life trying to escape. She smiled. I like that answer. Honest, Fiona taught me that honesty is important to her. I'm still learning, Mom glanced at me. Is that true? He's learning, I confirmed, slowly. Good. That's all anyone can do, keep learning. She turned back to Miles. I'll be honest with you. When Fiona first told me about you, I was worried. The timing seemed convenient. The situation unusual. I wondered if she was making a mistake. My stomach dropped. Mom, but watching you two together now, I see something real. You look at my daughter like she hung the moon. And she looks at you like you might actually deserve her, which is high praise. Miles laughed. I definitely don't deserve her. But I'm trying. Keep trying. That's the secret. Mom raised her glass. To trying. After dinner helping with dishes, Mom pulled me aside. I like him. He's good for you. You think. I know. He challenges you, makes you laugh. And most importantly, he showed up. Even knowing I might not approve, he came here and was honest with me. That takes courage. He kept a secret from me, Mom, a big one, and he's working to fix it. Fiona, everyone makes mistakes. The question is, do they learn from them? I looked through the doorway at Miles, helping dry dishes despite Mom's protests, telling her some story that made her laugh. I think he's learning. Then give him the chance to prove it. 2 months in, we were doing well. Great even. Then Anna showed up at my office. Miles, we need to talk. Anna, I don't think. I'm selling my shares in Clark Industries. Moving to New York. I wanted to say goodbye. I gestured to the chair. She sat. I owe you an apology, she said, for the engagement party. For the texts. For not accepting that you'd moved on. I was hurt and bitter, and I made that your problem. Thank you. That means a lot. For what it's worth, I'm happy for you. Fiona she's good, real, better than I ever was with you. Anna, no, it's true. We would have been miserable together. You know it, I know it, I just couldn't admit it. She stood. Take care of her, okay? And yourself. After she left, I texted Fiona immediately. Anna came by, just to say goodbye. Want to talk about it tonight. You told me immediately instead of hiding it. That's progress. Progress. We were making progress. But setbacks happened too. 3 months in. We had our first real fight since getting back together. It started stupidly. I'd made plans without checking with her first. Dinner with a client on a night we usually spent together. It's not about the dinner, Fiona said, frustrated. It's about assuming I'd be fine with it instead of asking. It's work. I thought you'd understand. I do understand. But we're supposed to be partners. Partners communicate. They don't just make decisions and inform the other person after. You're right. I'm sorry. Don't just apologize. Change the behavior. I canceled the client dinner, rescheduled. Fiona and I ordered pizza and talked through why it had bothered her old patterns from when she felt like an afterthought in Dylan's life. I never want you to feel like an afterthought, I said. You're the most important person in my life. Then show me. Through actions, not just words. I will. And I did. Little things. Checking with her before making plans. Asking about her day and actually listening. Remembering that she hated early morning meetings and scheduling around it. Building trust was slow, tedious, sometimes frustrating. But we were doing it. 4 months into rebuilding, sitting in Miles' apartment watching bad TV, he suddenly muted the screen. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you want to stay married to me? My heart stopped. What? Our 2-year contract is up in 8 months. The inheritance requirement is gone. Legally, we could get divorced anytime. No penalties, no obligations. He turned to face me fully. But I don't want to. I want to stay married to you. Actually married. Not because of a contract or money or convenience, but because I love you and I want to build a life with you. I stared at him. I'm not asking you to decide right now, he continued. I just need to know if that's something you'd even consider. Or if you've been counting down the days until you're free. I haven't been counting down. No, Miles, I took a breath. I've thought about it, about what happens when the contract expires. Whether we'd stay together, get divorced, what that would look like. And I'm scared. Terrified, actually. Because staying married means admitting this is real. That I'm choosing you not because I have to, but because I want to. And that's the scariest thing I've ever done. He took my hand. For what it's worth, I'm terrified too. I've never wanted to share my life with someone before. Never imagined letting someone in completely. But with you, I want all of it. The messy, scary, uncertain parts. All of it. What if we don't work out? What if we stay married and it falls apart and we end up hating each other? Then at least we'll have tried. Really tried. Not held back by fear or contracts or escape plans. I leaned into him. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need. But I already knew my answer. I was just scared to say it out loud. 6 months into rebuilding, everything changed. Fiona showed up at my office unannounced on a Tuesday afternoon. Hi. Do you have a minute? For you. Always. She closed the door behind her, suddenly nervous. I've been thinking about what you asked. About staying married. My heart was pounding. And I think, she took a breath. I think we should renew our vows, properly. Not because of a contract or inheritance or any obligation. Just because we love each other and we're choosing this. Choosing us. I stood up slowly. Are you serious? Completely serious. I want to marry you, Miles. Again. For real this time. No contracts, no conditions, no exit plans. Just commitment. I crossed the room, pulled her into my arms.
Yeah, yes. When?
I was thinking small, just us, our families. Close friends, nothing fancy. Maybe on the anniversary of when we first signed the contract. Full circle. That's perfect. She pulled back, looking up at me. Are you crying? No. You're absolutely crying, maybe a little. She laughed, wiping my tears. Who knew Miles Bennett was such a softie? Only for you. We stood there, holding each other, and I realized this was what I'd been searching for my entire life. Not perfection, not certainty, just someone who chose me every day, despite all the messy, complicated, scary parts. Someone who made the risk worth it. You want to do what? Rachel stared at me over brunch like I'd announced plans to join a cult. Renew our vows. Have a real wedding. Small, intimate, meaningful. Fiona, you already had a wedding. In a courthouse. With a lawyer as witness. That wasn't a wedding. That was a business transaction. I pushed eggs around my plate. This time, I want it to mean something. Rachel softened. Okay, tell me what you're thinking. Nothing fancy. Maybe the botanical gardens. Just family and close friends. I want to write my own vows. And Miles is on board with this. H cried when I suggested it. Miles Bennett cried. I have witnesses. She laughed. Okay, I'm in. What do you need? Help with everything. I've planned corporate mergers, but I have no idea how to plan a wedding. Lucky for you, I'm an expert at both. Let's make a list. We spent the next 3 hours mapping everything out. Venue, catering, flowers, guest list. It felt surreal planning a wedding to someone I was already married to. But this time, every choice felt intentional. Real. Catherine was thrilled when we told her. Oh, this is perfect. We can have it at the estate. The gardens are beautiful in spring, and we'll need to coordinate with the caterer and the florist and, Mom, Miles interrupted gently, we want to keep it small. Simple. How small? 30 people. Maximum. Catherine looked physically pained. 30, but the family alone is. We're not inviting the whole family, just immediate family and close friends. He took my hand. This isn't about making a statement or impressing people. It's about us. She studied us both, then sighed. You're right, this is your day, your way. Then she smiled. But I'm still helping with flowers. We wouldn't have it any other way. Jessica insisted on going dress shopping with me. You can't wear the same dress from your courthouse wedding, she said, dragging me into an upscale bridal boutique. Why not? It's a nice dress. Because this time it matters. Come on. The boutique was intimidating, all white tulle and crystal chandeliers. The consultant took one look at me and said, You're not a traditional bride, are you? Is it that obvious? You have a please don't put me in a mirroring look. She smiled. Let's find you something elegant, modern. You? She brought out dresses, beautiful, expensive, completely overwhelming. Then I saw it. Simple silk, clean lines, barely any embellishment. Elegant without being fussy. That one. Jessica squealed. Try it on. In the dressing room, I stared at my reflection. The dress fit perfectly, moved like water. For the first time, I looked like a bride who actually wanted to be there. Jessica appeared behind me in the mirror. That's the one. How do you know? Because you're crying. I was. I look happy. You look happy. She hugged me carefully, mindful of the dress. Miles is going to lose his mind when he sees you. That's the plan. Mom came to one of the final fittings. She cried the moment she saw me. My beautiful girl. Mom, don't. You'll make me cry and ruin the makeup trial. I can't help it. You look. She touched the fabric gently. Your father would be so proud. The mention of Dad who died when I was 12 hit unexpectedly hard. I wish he could be here. He is, honey. In his own way. She straightened my veil. He'd like Miles. Your father always said you needed someone who could keep up with you intellectually, someone who challenged you. Miles definitely does that. Good, that's how it should be. She stepped back, assessing. This dress is perfect, you're perfect. I'm terrified. Off what? Off this being real, of it not working out, of choosing wrong. She took my hands. Fiona, there are no guarantees. Your father and I had 20 years together before he died, and even then it wasn't enough. But I'd do it all again, the fear, the uncertainty, everything, because those 20 years were the best of my life. What if? Stop. No more what ifs. You love Miles. He loves you. That's all you need to know. This is the saddest bachelor party I've ever seen, my friend David announced, looking around the whiskey bar. It's not a bachelor party, it's just drinks with friends. You're renewing your vows in 2 weeks. This is definitely a bachelor party, he signaled the bartender. We need to make this more interesting. Please don't. Too late. David had ordered shots for the table. 4 of my closest friends from college had flown in. We hadn't been together like this in years. So, Marcus said, leaning back in his chair. You really did it. Fell in love with your contract wife, apparently. That's actually romantic as hell, David admitted, like a rom-com. But with more legal documents, she's good for you, James added. I've never seen you this relaxed, human. Thanks. He means it as a compliment, Marcus translated. You were always so tightly wound. Now you seem like you might actually enjoy life occasionally. Fiona does that. Makes things lighter. That's love, man. David raised his glass. To Miles, who somehow convinced a brilliant, beautiful woman to marry him twice. To Miles. Several drinks in, the conversation turned philosophical. Do you ever think about how insane your origin story is? James asked. Like you literally hired a wife then fell in love with her. That's not supposed to work. I know. But it did work. Why do you think that is? I considered the question seriously. Because we were honest. Eventually, and because we both wanted something real, even when we were pretending it was fake. Deep. Marcus said. Have another drink. But David was nodding. No, that makes sense. You built your relationship without all the normal bullshit, no games, no pretending to be someone you're not. Just two people figuring it out together. Exactly. So when you do your vows, James said, what are you going to say? I'd been working on them for weeks. Writing, rewriting, trying to capture everything I felt. The truth. That she's the best surprise of my life. That I choose her every day. That I'm going to keep choosing her for the rest of my life. David wiped fake tears. I'm not crying, you're crying. We're all crying, Marcus admitted. Around midnight. Walking back to my car, I'd had the driver wait. I felt genuinely ready. Nervous, but ready. To stand in front of everyone we cared about and promise to love Fiona. Not because a contract required it. Not because of money or inheritance or obligation. Just because I wanted to. I woke up at my apartment. Miles and I had agreed not to see each other the night before. For tradition, to 17 missed calls from Jessica. Where have you been? She demanded when I called back. Sleeping. It's 6 a.m. It's your wedding day. You can't sleep. It's not until 4 p.m. Exactly. We have so much to do. Hair, makeup, photos, breakfast. Jessica, breathe. I'm breathing. Get dressed. We're picking you up in 30 minutes. She hung up before I could protest. Rachel arrived first. With coffee and bagels. How are you feeling? Terrified. Excited. Like I might throw up. All normal wedding day emotions. She handed me coffee. Eat something. You'll feel better. Jessica burst in with a makeup artist, hairstylist, and enough energy to power a small city. Okay, game plan: hair first, then makeup, then dress. We have a photographer coming at noon for getting ready shots. Mom's handling the venue setup. Everything's under control. Is it though? Absolutely not. But we're pretending it is. She pushed me toward a chair. Sit. Let Carmen work magic on your hair. The next few hours were a blur of preparation. My hair was styled in soft waves. Makeup natural but polished. The dress fit perfectly. Around 2 p.m., standing in my bedroom, fully dressed, I finally looked like a bride. A real bride, not someone playing a part. Fiona, Mom said softly from the doorway, you're stunning. I feel like an imposter. Why? Because I'm already married. This is all just performance. She walked over, took my hands. This isn't performance. This is you and Miles choosing each other publicly, honestly. That's the most real thing in the world. Rachel appeared with my bouquet, simple white peonies. Car's here. You ready? I looked at myself one more time in the mirror. Yeah, I'm ready. The botanical gardens were perfect. Exactly what Fiona wanted. You are listening to a story on love revenge stories. Intimate, beautiful, meaningful. 30 chairs arranged in a semicircle. String quartet playing softly. Spring flowers everywhere. I stood at the altar with my brother as best man, trying not to pace. You're nervous, he observed. I'm terrified. Why? You're already married to her. That's different. That was legal paperwork. This is, I gestured helplessly. This is promising to love her forever. In front of everyone. What if I mess up my vows? What if I cry? What if, Miles? Breathe, she loves you, you love her. The rest is just details. The quartet shifted to the processional, everyone stood. Then I saw her. Fiona appeared at the end of the aisle, holding her mother's arm, looking like every good thing I'd ever done in my life had somehow led to this moment. The dress was perfect, simple, elegant, completely her. But it was her face that undid me. Nervous smile, eyes bright with unshaded tears, looking at me like I was the only person in the world. She walked down the aisle slowly. When she reached me, she whispered, "Hey, hi. You look, don't make me cry yet. We haven't even started." The officiant, a friend of Catherine's who'd agreed to perform the ceremony, smiled at us. Friends and family, we gathered today to witness Fiona and Miles renew their commitment to each other. Not out of obligation, but out of choice. Not because they have to, but because they want to. I squeezed Fiona's hand, she squeezed back. Miles, your vows. I took a breath. Pulled out the paper I'd written and rewritten 50 times. Fiona. When we got married the first time, I thought I knew what I was doing. A business arrangement. Clear terms, easy exit. But you ruined all of that in the best way possible. You made me laugh when I'd forgotten how. You challenged me when I needed it. You saw past the careful image I showed the world and somehow liked what you found underneath. She was crying now. I was barely holding it together. I'm not perfect, I'm controlling and occasionally emotionally stunted, and I work too much. But with you, I want to be better. Not perfect, just better. Every day. I folded the paper. Spoke from memory now. So today, I'm choosing you. Not because a contract says I should. Not because anyone expects it. But because you're the best surprise of my life, and I want to spend the rest of my life being surprised by you. I love you. I choose you. Forever. I finished. Everyone was crying, including the efficient. Fiona, she prompted. Fiona wiped her eyes, laughing. Thanks for that. Now everyone's a mess. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Miles. I don't have anything written down because I'm terrified I'd forget what I wanted to say if I tried to memorize it. And reading from paper feels weird. So here goes. She took both my hands. 2 years ago, I thought love was something that happened to other people. People who had time for it. People who weren't too busy surviving. Then you showed up with your terrible contract and your ridiculous inheritance drama and your complete inability to communicate feelings, and somehow, impossibly, I fell in love with you, not helping my reputation. I murmured. You've gotten better. Mostly. Miles, you taught me that I deserve to be chosen. Not because I'm useful or capable or solving someone else's problems. Just because I'm me. You taught me that love isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. She was crying harder now. So I'm choosing you. Your control issues and your secret softness and the way you make terrible jokes when you're nervous. All of it. I love you. I choose you. Always. The efficient was openly sobbing. Okay, rings. We exchanged new rings, simple bands that matched. By the power vested in me. And more importantly, by the choice you've both made today, I now pronounce you husband and wife again. You may kiss. I didn't wait for her to finish. I kissed Fiona like she was oxygen and I'd been drowning. She kissed back, smiling against my lips. Still married, she whispered. Still married. I agreed. The reception was in a beautiful greenhouse attached to the garden's glass walls, hanging lights, flowers everywhere. This is perfect. I told Jessica, who'd orchestrated the entire setup. I know, I'm a genius. She handed me champagne. Now relax and enjoy your wedding. Miles appeared at my side, arm sliding around my waist. Ness, Bennett, that's Dr. Mrs. Bennett to you. I didn't get my MBA for nothing. My apologies, Dr. Mrs. Bennett. We stood together, watching guests mingle. Our families mixed naturally, my mom laughing with Catherine, Richard deep in conversation with Rachel's husband. It's strange, I said. 2 years ago I didn't know these people. Now they're family. Good strange or bad strange? Good strange. I leaned into him. Really good. Dylan's name flashed on my phone, a message request from yet another social media platform. Heard you got married again. Hope you're happy. I showed Miles. Should I respond? Do you want to? I thought about it, about Dylan and everything he represented, obligation, duty, the person I used to be. No. That chapter's closed. I declined the request. Good, Miles said. Because if I have to fight your ex-boyfriend at our wedding reception, your mother will kill me. She really would. Marcus approached us with a grin. The best man's toast is supposed to be embarrassing, right? Please don't, Miles said. Too late. I've been preparing material for weeks. At dinner, Marcus stood with his glass. For those who don't know me, I'm Marcus. Miles and I went to Wharton together, where he was an insufferable know-it-all who color-coded his notes and actually enjoyed our finance classes. Laughter rippled through the room. Miles was always the serious one. While the rest of us were making questionable decisions and failing upward, Miles was building businesses and planning his life with military precision. We all assumed he'd end up with someone equally serious. Probably another finance person who could debate market trends over dinner. He looked at me. Then he met Fiona, and suddenly Mr. Precision was showing up late to meetings, distracted and smiling. We thought aliens had replaced him. Turns out he'd just fallen in love. More laughter. Miles. You're my best friend. And Fiona, you've made him happier than I've ever seen him. So here's to love that surprises you, challenges you, and makes you better. To Miles and Fiona. To Miles and Fiona. Everyone echoed. The DJ called us to the dance floor. Some slow romantic song. I wasn't even paying attention to what it was. All I could focus on was Fiona in my arms, finally, officially, permanently mine. I can't believe we did this, she said, her head on my shoulder. Having regrets already. None. You. Not even one. We swayed together, neither of us particularly good dancers, but it didn't matter. Miles. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on us. When I ran. When I pushed you away, you could have walked away. Moved on. Found someone easier. I pulled back to look at her. Easier isn't better. You're worth the work, Fiona. Every complicated, difficult, beautiful moment. You're gonna make me cry again. That seems to be my specialty today. She laughed, pulled me closer. I love you. I love you too. Other couples joined us on the dance floor. My parents, looking surprisingly affectionate. Rachel and her husband. Even Jessica with her girlfriend. For the first time in my life, everything felt complete. Part 30 Speeches. Fiona. Catherine tapped her glass after dinner. I wasn't planning to give a speech that's not proper mother of the groom behavior. But I can't help myself. She looked at Miles, then me. When Miles first told me about Fiona, I was skeptical, not because of Fiona, because of Miles. My son has spent his entire life keeping people at arm's length, building walls, protecting himself from vulnerability. Miles shifted uncomfortably. I squeezed his hand. But then I met Fiona, and I watched those walls come down. I saw my son laugh freely for the first time in years. I saw him let someone in. Catherine's eyes were bright. Fiona, you've given me back my son. The real version, not the carefully controlled image. For that I will always be grateful. Welcome to our family. Officially this time. She raised her glass. My mom stood next. I'll keep this short. Fiona, you've spent your whole life taking care of everyone else. Your father, me, friends who needed you. You never put yourself first. Until Miles. She looked at him. Miles. Thank you for taking care of my daughter. For letting her take care of you. For showing her that she deserves to be loved, not just needed. That's the greatest gift you could give her. She sat down, wiping tears. Rachel went next, using her maid of honor privilege to embarrass me. Fiona and I met freshman year of college. She was intense, focused, always working. I dragged her to parties, forced her to have fun, tried to set her up with various men who were completely wrong for her. Lauder. Then Miles happened, and suddenly, Fiona was happy. Actually happy, not just accomplished. She'd call me rambling about something funny he said, or how he surprised her with coffee, or how they stayed up all night talking. That's when I knew he was different. She looked at both of us. You two had the strangest beginning. But you built something real from it, something worth celebrating. So here's to unconventional love stories and happy endings. Around 9 p.m., I pulled Fiona away from the reception. Where are we going? You'll see. I led her to a quiet corner of the gardens, away from the party noise. I wanted a moment. Just us. She settled against me on a bench overlooking the pond. This has been perfect, she said, better than I imagined. Same. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the lights reflect on the water. Miles.
Yeah.
What happens now, after tonight? What do you mean? I mean, what's our life going to look like? We've spent 2 years in this weird limbo of fake marriage and real relationship. Now it's just real, all of it. I considered the question. I guess we figure it out as we go, like everyone else. That's terrifyingly vague. I know. But Fiona, we've never done things the normal way. Why start now? She laughed. Fair point. I do have one request though. What's that? Move in with me. Officially, no more separate apartments, no more pretending we need space. Let's actually build a life together. She was quiet for a moment. That's a big step. We're married, it's probably overdue. True. She turned to look at me. Okay.
Yes?
Let's do it. Yeah, but I'm bringing my terrible couch. Your couch is falling apart. It's vintage. It's garbage. It's vintage garbage. And it's coming. I kissed her. Fine. The couch can come. The reception wound down around midnight. Guests said their goodbyes, congratulated us one more time, headed home. Mom hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Thanks, Mom, for everything. Be happy, that's all I want for you. Catherine and Richard were next. Welcome to the family, officially, Richard said, surprisingly warm. Take care of my son. I will. Jessica pulled me aside. You know, when Miles first told me about the contract marriage, I thought he was insane. Now I think it might be the smartest thing he's ever done. Because he found me. Because he found someone who calls him on his bullshit and loves him anyway. That's rare. Miles appeared, jacket off, tie loosened, looking relaxed and happy. Ready to go home. Home. That sounds nice. We said final goodbyes, climbed into the car. Halfway to Miles' place, our place. Now I realized I was still wearing my wedding dress. I should change. Why, you look beautiful. I look ridiculous. I'm in a full wedding dress at midnight on a Tuesday. It's our wedding night. You can wear whatever you want. I laughed. You know, 2 years ago, if someone had told me I'd be here actually married to you, actually happy, I would have thought they were crazy. Same. But I am. Happy, I mean. Really, truly happy. He kissed my hand. Me too. At home, I changed into comfortable clothes while Miles ordered pizza because apparently, wedding food isn't enough. We ate on the couch, still in our wedding finery hymn and pajamas mead, talking about the day. My favorite part, Miles said, was your vows. When you said I taught you that you deserve to be chosen. My favorite was when you ugly cried during yours. I didn't ugly cry. You absolutely did. There's photographic evidence. He pulled me closer. Okay, I cried. Sue me, I married the love of my life. Twice. Did I not make that clear in my vows? You did. I just like hearing it. The love of my life, he repeated. Forever, forever, I agreed. We fell asleep on the couch, pizza forgotten, wrapped up in each other. And for the first time in my life, forever didn't sound scary. It sounded perfect. I'm not getting rid of my bookshelf, Fiona. It's held together with duct tape and hope. It has character. Miles looked at the leaning monstrosity currently taking up half his living room. It has structural integrity issues. We'd been, officially, moving my stuff into Miles' apartment, our apartment, for 2 weeks. Progress was slow because I was emotionally attached to every piece of furniture I owned. The bookshelf stays, or I'm moving back to my apartment. You already terminated your lease. I'll live in Rachel's garage, he sighed. Fine, the bookshelf stays. But it's going in the office, not the living room. Deal. By evening, most of my belongings were integrated into the space. My books on his shelves. My terrible art on his walls. My coffee mugs in our kitchen. This is weird, I said, looking around. What is? Seeing my stuff mixed with yours. Like we're actually living together. Yeah. Miles pulled me into his arms. Is it good weird or bad weird? Good weird. Definitely good weird. That night, falling asleep in our bed, not the guest room, not his room, our room, I felt something settle, like pieces clicking into place. You're working too much. I looked up from my laptop. Fiona stood in the doorway of the office, arms crossed. I have this acquisition closing tomorrow, Miles. It's 11 p.m. You've been working since 6 a.m. I'm almost done. That's what you said 2 hours ago. She walked over, closed my laptop. Bed now. Fiona. We talked about this. Work-life balance. You promised. She was right. After the vow renewal, we'd agreed on boundaries. No work after 10 p.m. unless absolutely critical. Weekends reserved for us. I'd been violating those boundaries for 3 days straight. I'm sorry. This deal is complicated, and you have a whole team of people who can handle it. You don't have to do everything yourself. She softened. Miles, I get it, I do the same thing. But we need to take care of ourselves, each other. I closed the laptop fully. You're right, I'm sorry. Good, now come to bed. I got that documentary you wanted to watch. The one about supply chain logistics. I love you. But your taste in documentaries is terrible. Yes, that one, in bed. Watching the documentary, she fell asleep 15 minutes and I realized how easy it would be to slip back into old patterns. Work as escape. Work as identity. But having Fiona there, reminding me there was more to life than the next deal, the next acquisition. That made all the difference. My period was late. 7 days late. I stared at the pregnancy test in my hand, waiting for results, trying not to panic. Miles and I hadn't seriously discussed kids. Not really, general someday conversations, but nothing concrete. 2 lines appeared. Positive. I sat on the bathroom floor, test in hand, mind racing. A baby. We were going to have a baby. Were we ready? Was I ready? Miles knocked softly. Fiona, you've been in there for 20 minutes. Are you okay? I opened the door, handed him the test. He stared at it. This is positive. Yeah. We stood in silence for what felt like an hour. Then Miles said, how do you feel? Terrified, excited, confused, all of it, same. He looked at me. What do you want to do? I don't know. I mean, we just got settled. My career is finally where I want it. We've only been really together for less than a year. Is this too fast? Probably, but maybe fast is okay. Maybe we don't need to have everything figured out. I leaned against him. You want this? I want whatever you want. If you're ready, I'm ready. If you're not, that's okay too. We made a doctor's appointment for the next day. In the waiting room, holding Miles' hand, I felt waves of anxiety and anticipation. The ultrasound tech was chatty and efficient. She spread gel on my stomach, pressed the wand down, frowned. Is something wrong? I asked immediately. No, not wrong. Just, she angled the screen. Are you sure about your dates? Pretty sure. Why? Because I'm not seeing anything. No fatal pole, no sac. When was your last period? I told her. She did the math. You're probably not pregnant. This is likely a false positive. They happen. Especially with early testing. I'd recommend waiting a week and testing again. Relief and disappointment warred in my chest. Not pregnant, not yet. In the car afterward, Miles was quiet. Are you disappointed? I asked. I don't know, maybe. I'd started imagining it, as parents, a nursery. Teaching them to code or whatever. You were going to teach our hypothetical baby to code. It's never too early to learn Python. I laughed, but it sounded shaky. I think I'm disappointed too. Which is crazy, right? We weren't even trying. Not crazy, just human. We drove home in thoughtful silence. That night, lying in bed, Miles said, so. Kids, do we want them?
I think so.
Maybe, with you? Yeah, I do. When you're ready, no rush. I rolled over to face him. What if I'm never ready? What if we wait and then it's too late? Then we'll have adopted 17 dogs and lived a full life anyway. 17. I'm ambitious about dog ownership. I kissed him. Okay, let's table the kid conversation for now. But Miles, yeah, when we do have them, if we do, they're learning Python over my dead body. Our kids will have normal childhoods. Debate club it is. Even worse. Our first real fight as a legitimately married couple started over something stupid. Fiona had made plans with Rachel without checking with me first. I'd made dinner reservations for the same night without checking with her. I told you about Rachel's birthday dinner weeks ago, she said, frustrated. You mentioned it. You didn't confirm the date. Yes, I did. You weren't listening. I listen. You were on your phone. Like you always are when I try to talk to you in the evenings. That stung because it was true. That's not fair. It's completely fair. Miles, you promised you'd be more present. More attentive. But you're still half checked out half the time. I'm building a company, Fiona. I can't just turn that off. I'm not asking you to turn it off. I'm asking you to be here when you're home. To actually listen when I talk. I do prioritize us. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, work always comes first. Just like with. She stopped. Just like what? Nothing. Forget it. No, say it. Just like with who? She hesitated. Just like with Dylan. He was always too busy, too distracted. Too focused on other things to actually be present with me. The comparison felt like a punch to the gut. I'm nothing like Dylan. I know that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But you did say it. Which means you think it. Miles. I need some air. I grabbed my coat and left. I walked around the neighborhood for an hour. Anger gradually giving way to guilt. She wasn't wrong. I had been distracted. Taking work calls during dinner. Responding to emails while she talked about her day. Half present. When I came back, Fiona was sitting on the couch, eyes red. I'm sorry, I said immediately. You're right, I've been a shitty husband lately. I'm sorry too. Comparing you to Dylan was cruel and unfair. We sat in silence for a moment. I don't want to be that guy, I said finally. The one who's so focused on work that he misses everything else. But I don't know how to turn it off. How to just be. I don't know how to speak up when I need attention without feeling needy. Fiona admitted. I've always been so self-sufficient. Asking for things feels impossible. We're a mess. A matched set of messes. I pulled her close. Dr. Martinez is going to have a field day with this in our next session. Probably. But Miles, we need to actually address this. Not just apologize and move on. I know. How about we try something? When either of us feels neglected or overwhelmed, we say it immediately. No waiting, no letting it build up. And phone-free dinners. Actual conversation. Deal. We sat together, working through it, setting boundaries, making plans. Actually communicating. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. 6 months of actually being married felt simultaneously like forever and no time at all. We'd established routines. Saturday morning farmer's market. Sunday morning laziness. Wednesday date nights, even if it was just ordering takeout and watching TV. Life felt settled. In the best way. I have something to tell you, Miles said one evening over dinner. My stomach dropped. That sounds ominous. It's not bad. At least, I don't think it's bad. He set down his fork. I've been offered a position, CEO of a tech startup. It's risky, exciting, and would mean significantly less stress than running Bennett Analytics. You'd sell Bennett Analytics. I'd transition it to my COO. He's been ready for years. I'd maintain board seat, but day-to-day operations would be his. And you want this, the startup? I think so. It's innovative work, solving real problems. And the CEO role would have better hours, more flexibility, more time for life. For us, he agreed, but it's a risk. Startup might fail. I'd be leaving something I built from nothing. I reached across the table. Miles, what do you want to do? Not what's safe, not what's expected. What do you actually want? He smiled. The startup. Then do it. Just like that. Just like that. I believe in you. Whatever you choose, we'll figure it out. He kissed me across the table. Have I mentioned lately that marrying you was the best decision I ever made? Once or twice. But I don't mind hearing it again. That night, in bed I said, Miles, I've been thinking about the baby thing. He turned to face me. Yeah. I think I want to try. Actually try. Not right this second but, soon. How soon? Maybe stop preventing. See what happens. He was quiet, processing. You're sure? No, I'm terrified. But I want this, with you, our own chaotic little family. He pulled me close. Okay. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's make a baby and screw them up in brand new and interesting ways. That's the spirit. We fell asleep tangled together, planning a future that felt impossible and inevitable all at once. 6 months ago, renewing our vows, I couldn't imagine what our life would look like. Now, lying here with him, I couldn't imagine it any other way. The crying started at 5:47 a.m. I rolled over, bleary-eyed, to find Miles already out of bed. I've got her, he called from the nursery. Go back to sleep. Sleep, what a concept. Emma Rose Bennett was 7 months old, teething and convinced that sleep was for the weak. She had Miles' eyes and my stubborn streak, a dangerous combination. I heard him singing softly some ridiculous made-up song about dinosaurs, and Emma's crying shifted to curious babbling. Smiling, I closed my eyes for 10 more minutes of rest before my alarm went off. By 7 a.m. we were in the kitchen, controlled chaos. Miles had Emma in one arm, attempting to make coffee with the other. I was packing my work bag, looking for the presentation notes I'd sworn I left on the counter. Did you move my? Check the office. Emma grabbed them yesterday. I rescued them from being eaten. I found them slightly drool-stained but salvageable. I have the Morrison call at 9. I said, pouring coffee. Should be done by 11. Can you handle pickup from daycare? Board meeting runs until 3. Mom said she'd get Emma if we're both stuck. We'd become experts at logistical choreography, trading off responsibilities, coordinating schedules, surviving on caffeine and sheer determination. We're terrible at this, I said, looking at our disaster of a kitchen. Miles glanced around, dishes in the sink, baby toys everywhere. Yesterday's mail still unopened on the table. We're amazing at this, he corrected. Emma's alive, we're mostly functional. And I even showered yesterday, setting the bar high. He kissed me over Emma's head. That's what I do. The startup had been acquired 6 months ago by a major tech firm. Good news, I was now CTO with significant equity. Bad news, the job was more demanding than expected. Miles, the engineering team needs sign off on the security protocol revisions. My assistant said, appearing in my office doorway. Send them over. I'll review by end of day. My phone buzzed. Fiona, Emma's pediatrician appointment moved to Thursday. Can you make it? I checked my calendar. Back-to-back meetings all Thursday afternoon. I'll move things around. What time? 3 p.m. Thank you? That's what partners do. I spent the next hour rearranging my schedule, delegating where I could, making it work. 2 years ago, I would have said work came first, let Fiona handle the appointment alone. Now I understood that showing up mattered more than any meeting. During lunch, I video called home. Mom had stopped by to help with Emma. There's my girl, I said when Emma's face filled the screen. She squealed, reaching for the phone. She's been asking for you, Mom said. Well, making data sounds repeatedly. Close enough. Tell her I'll be home soon. After we hung up, I sat for a moment looking at the photo on my desk, our vow renewal. Fiona in her dress, both of us crying, completely happy. That day felt simultaneously like yesterday and a lifetime ago. So much had changed. The pregnancy successful on month 3 of trying. The nursery, the birth 17 hours, I nearly passed out. Fiona was a warrior. Learning to be parents while staying connected as partners. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Also the best. By the time I got home at 6 p.m. I was exhausted. The Morrison deal was finally closing, 2 years of work paying off. But I'd missed Emma all day. I found her in the playpen, Miles on the floor beside her, making ridiculous faces. Emma was laughing, that pure, unfiltered baby joy that made everything else disappear. Hey, I said, dropping my bag. Mama. Emma reached for me. I scooped her up, breathing in that perfect baby smell. Hi sweet girl, did you have a good day? Miles stood, stretching. She's been an angel. Napped twice, ate all her vegetables, practiced her crawling. Overachiever, just like her mom. She gets the overachieving from both of us. After Emma's bedtime routine, bath, book, bottle, approximately 47 renditions of Twinkle Twinkle, we finally had adult time. Miles ordered Thai food. We ate on the couch, too tired to sit at the table properly. I can't remember the last time we had a real conversation, I said. One that wasn't about schedules or diapers or doctor appointments. Tuesday. That was 4 days ago. Feels like months. We sat in comfortable, exhausted silence. Miles.
Yeah.
Are we okay, like us? Are we okay? He looked at me, really looked. What do you mean? I mean, we barely have time together anymore. We're always tired. Our date nights keep getting cancelled. We haven't had sex in. I don't even remember when. 3 weeks, not that I'm counting. Exactly. What if we're losing ourselves in being parents? What if we forget how to be partners? Miles set down his food. Fiona, come here. I moved closer. He wrapped his arm around me. We're in survival mode. Emma's 7 months old. We're sleep deprived and overwhelmed and figuring it out as we go. That's normal. But what if? No. Listen. I love you exactly as much as I did 2 years ago. More, even. Watching you become a mother, seeing you handle work and Emma and everything else, you're incredible. And yes, we're tired and don't have much couple time right now, but that's temporary. Emma will sleep eventually, we'll find our rhythm. You promise. I promise. But Fiona, we need to prioritize us sometimes, even when it's hard, even when we're exhausted. Like now. Like now. He kissed me slow, deliberate, reminding me we were still us underneath the parent chaos. Bedroom, I suggested, absolutely. But if Emma wakes up in 10 minutes, I'm going to cry. Deal. Jessica organized a family dinner at the estate. First time all of us had been together since Emma's baptism 4 months ago. Look at my niece. Jessica scooped Emma up the moment we arrived. She's gotten so big. She's been eating like a tiny linebacker, Fiona said. Mom appeared, immediately taking Emma from Jessica. Let Grandma hold her, I haven't seen her in weeks. We'd barely set down the diaper bag when Dad pulled me aside. How are you really doing? You look tired. I am tired. But really good. Parenthood suits you. Your mother's thrilled, she was worried you'd be a disaster at it. I am a disaster at it, we both are. But we're figuring it out. He smiled. That's all anyone can do. During dinner, Catherine made an announcement. Richard and I have been discussing downsizing. This house is too much for just the two of us. We're thinking of selling, moving somewhere smaller. Everyone went silent. Selling the estate. Jessica looked shocked. This has been in our family for generations, I know. But it's time. We'd like to use the proceeds to set up trust funds for Emma and any future grandchildren, give them opportunities. Fiona squeezed my hand under the table. Mom, you don't have to do that, I said. I want to, we want to. This house was always more about image than comfort. I'd rather invest in my grandchildren's futures. Jessica raised her glass. To new beginnings and being less pretentious. Jessica, Dad warned, but he was smiling. After Emma was asleep in the guest room, monitored by baby camera, the adults sat in the library with wine. I have news too, Jessica announced. Sarah and I are getting married. Chaos erupted. Congratulations, questions, mom crying happy tears. Finally, Fiona said. You two have been together for 3 years. I wanted to be sure. Unlike some people who jumped into marriage with questionable contracts. Jessica winked at me. That worked out pretty well. I countered. It really did. She looked at Fiona. Thank you, by the way. For what? For making my brother human. For giving me a niece. For showing me that unconventional love stories can work. Jessica raised her glass. To unconventional love. To unconventional love. Everyone echoed. Late that night, driving home with Emma asleep in her car seat, I thought about how far we'd come. 3 years ago I was desperate for money, for my mom's surgery, for a way out of my dead-end situation. Now I was married, really married, a mother, director at a firm that valued me, surrounded by family who loved me. What are you thinking about? Miles asked, glancing over. How different my life is. How 3 years ago, I couldn't have imagined any of this. The different. The best different. I looked back at Emma, peaceful in sleep. She's perfect, isn't she? She really is. Even at 3 a.m. when she's screaming. Especially then. We pulled into the garage. Miles carefully unbuckled Emma. Carried her inside without waking her, a skill he'd perfected over months. After settling her in the crib, we stood in the doorway watching her sleep. Miles. Thank you. For what? For taking a chance on me. For the ridiculous contract that brought us together. For being patient when I ran. For loving me even when I'm difficult. He pulled me close. Thank you for saying yes, for staying. For building this life with me. Wouldn't want to build it with anyone else. We went to bed separately from Emma for once, since she was in a good sleep stretch, and held each other in the dark. Fiona. Want to have another baby? I laughed quietly. Ask me when Emma's sleeping through the night, deal. But as I drifted off I realized I wasn't opposed to the idea. Another baby, more chaos, more love. With Miles, I could handle anything. The courthouse looked exactly the same marble floors, same uncomfortable chairs, same bureaucratic efficiency. This feels surreal, Fiona said beside me, holding our paperwork. Emma, now 5, swung between us, holding both our hands. Why are we here again? Adult business, sweetheart, I told her. Boring adult business. The most boring. Our number was called. We approached the same window where, 7 years ago, we'd filed our original marriage certificate. We're here to file an adoption decree, Fiona said, sliding papers across. The clerk processed them efficiently. Congratulations. You're officially parents to. She checked the documents. James Michael Hayes Bennett, Jamie, our son. 18 months old, adopted 3 weeks ago after a year of paperwork, home visits, and waiting. Thank you, I said, walking out. Emma asked, is Jamie really my brother now? Like officially? Officially, Fiona confirmed. Good. I like having a brother. In the car, Fiona pulled out her phone, snapped a photo of the courthouse. For Jamie. When he's older. So he knows where it became official. We should take a photo here every year, show him how much he's loved. Deal. We drove to pick up Jamie from Mom's house. When we arrived, he toddled over, arms up. Data. I scooped him up. He was small for 18 months, malnourished in his first year before entering the foster system. But 3 months with us and he was thriving. Gaining weight, hitting milestones, full of personality. Emma immediately pulled him toward her play area. Come on, Jamie. I'll show you my new toys. Mom watched them go. They're good together. They really are, Fiona agreed. We'd organized a small celebration at our house, the one we'd bought 2 years ago, when Emma needed more space and Miles needed a home office. That wasn't the guest room. Rachel arrived first with her twins. Where's the guest of honor? Jamie was in Miles' arms, suspicious of the sudden crowd. He's shy, I explained. Give him a minute. Jessica and Sarah came next, with their daughter Lily. Then Catherine and Richard. Then my mom. Our living room filled with noise, laughter, chaos. I can't believe you adopted, Rachel said, helping me in the kitchen. You always said 2 kids was your limit. That was before we fostered Jamie. The moment he arrived, we knew. He was meant to be ours. How's the transition been? Hard, really hard. He has attachment issues, developmental delays from neglect. Some nights he wakes up screaming. He's terrified of being sent away. And we're committed. For however long it takes. He's ours. Emma's obsessed with him. Miles is already planning his college fund. We're all in. Rachel hugged me. You're a good mom. I'm a tired mom who's mostly winging it. Same thing. During dinner, Catherine stood with her glass. I'd like to make a toast. To Jamie, who's brought so much joy to this family. And to Miles and Fiona, who opened their hearts and home to a child who needed them. You've shown all of us what love really means, choosing someone, even when it's hard, even when it's scary. Welcome home, Jamie. Everyone raised their glasses. Welcome home. Jamie, overwhelmed, buried his face in Miles' shoulder. It's okay, buddy, Miles murmured. We're celebrating you, because you're loved. Always. After everyone left and both kids were asleep, Jamie in his room, newly decorated with animals. Emma in hers, currently obsessed with space. Fiona and I collapsed on the couch. That was a lot of people, she said. Jamie did well. Only one meltdown. Progress. We sat in comfortable exhaustion. Do you ever think about how we started? I asked. That ridiculous contract, the fake marriage, how far-fetched it all was. All the time. Especially now, looking at our actual life. 2 kids, a house, family dinners. It's so normal but ours. Yeah. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to something, handed it to me. It was a photo from 7 years ago, the courthouse. Right after we'd signed our marriage certificate. Both of us looking serious, slightly uncomfortable, clearly not in love. Look how young we were. I said. Look how stupid we were. Thinking we could keep it purely business. Best bad plan I ever made. She took back her phone, pulled up a recent photo, all 4 of us at the park last weekend. Emma making a silly face, Jamie laughing, both of us looking tired but happy. I like this version better, she said. Me too, Miles? Yeah. Do you think we're done? With kids, I considered. Are you asking if I want more? I'm asking if you think 2 is enough. Because I think we're good. Emma and Jamie need us fully present. Adding more might stretch us too thin. I agree, 2 feels right. Good. So I can schedule that procedure we discussed. The vasectomy.
Yeah, I'll call tomorrow.
She kissed me. Thank you for being a partner in all of this. The kids, the chaos, the constant negotiation of schedules and responsibilities. Thank you for choosing me. 7 years ago today. Tomorrow. I'd choose you every time. Even knowing how complicated it would get. Especially knowing that. The law firm Morrison & Chen was hosting an event celebrating 10 years of their alternative family planning services. They'd invited us as success stories. Do we have to go? Miles asked, adjusting his tie. Yes, they helped us. We owe them an appearance. I hate these things. I know. But Harrison Morrison personally called. We're going. The event was elegant cocktails, networking, testimonials from couples whose lives had been changed by Morrison's services. When it was our turn to speak, I took the microphone nervously. 7 years ago, my life was falling apart. I needed money for my mother's surgery, I needed a promotion. I needed a way forward. Harrison Morrison offered me an unconventional solution, a marriage contract with a man I'd never met. I glanced at Miles, who smiled encouragingly. That man was Miles Bennett. Our arrangement was simple: 2 years, then divorce. No feelings, no complications, just business. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Except feelings don't follow contracts. Somewhere between the fake dates and the family dinners and the moments when we forgot we were pretending, we fell in love. Really, actually, complicatedly in love. Miles came to stand beside me, taking my hand. 7 years, 2 kids, countless arguments about whose turn it is to do dishes. We're still here. Still choosing each other. Still grateful for that ridiculous contract that brought us together. I handed the mic to Miles. My grandfather used to say that family legacy was everything. But Fiona taught me that family isn't about bloodlines or traditions or meeting expectations. It's about showing up. It's about choosing someone every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. He looked at me. Morrison and Chen gave us the structure to find each other. We did the rest. And I'd do it all again, exactly the same way, if it meant ending up here with her. The applause was warm, genuine. Afterward, couples approached us, sharing their own stories. Some still in contract marriages, some transitioning to real relationships, some who'd completed their terms and moved on amicably. It's like a weird club. I whispered to Miles, the Contract Marriage Success Club. We should get jackets. At home, both kids asleep, the babysitter paid and gone, we sat on our back deck with wine. That was nice, Fiona said. Seeing other people who took unconventional paths to love makes us feel less insane. We were definitely insane. A contract marriage. What were we thinking? We were thinking practically, strategically. Neither of us expected to actually fall in love. Best surprise ever. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Fiona. Yeah. If you could go back knowing everything that would happen, all the complications and challenges and chaos, would you still sign that contract? She didn't hesitate. In a heartbeat. You? Without question. She leaned against me. We should write our story down. For Emma and Jamie. So when they're older, they can understand how weird and wonderful and impossible this all was. A memoir. More like a guide. How to accidentally fall in love with your contract spouse. Terrible title. I'll workshop it. Later, in bed, I thought about the past 7 years. The contract, the fake dates, the real feelings, the vow renewal, the children, the fights and makeups and ordinary days that somehow added up to a life. Miles. Fiona's voice was sleepy. Yeah, I love you too. Even when I'm difficult, especially then, she laughed softly. Good, because I'm about to be very difficult about whose turn it is to get up with Jamie when he wakes at 3 a.m. We'll fight about it then. Deal. She fell asleep quickly, like she always did. I stayed awake a little longer, thinking about the boy I used to be, controlled, careful, terrified of vulnerability. And the man I'd become, messy, open, surrounded by love I never thought I'd have. All because of a ridiculous contract. All because I'd been desperate enough to try something unconventional. All because Fiona had said yes. In the morning, I'd wake up to chaos: 2 kids who needed breakfast, conference calls that couldn't be moved, the ordinary madness of our life. But tonight, lying here with the woman who'd changed everything, I felt nothing but gratitude. For the risk we took. For the love we built. For the life we chose, together.